Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody from all around the world, hello and welcome to another episode of The Watch Report with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. Let's make some noise, let's clap it up, let's get it started wherever you are. Let's get ourselves ready for a phenomenal show with a whole host of topics and discussion, because my word, you want to talk about drama in the boxing landscape and a huge fight that finally has been made. As you can see in the thumbnail, the biggest boxing match in UK history is officially signed, sealed, and delivered for the end of 2026 this year. That's right, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, two of the men who ran the heavyweight division individually when each one of the other was either absent or coming up. Now they're about to face off finally as to who reigns supreme in the land of the giants, at least of the old guard, with the last generation between those two. It's so exciting. It's so incredible. We're going to talk about that fight. We're going to talk about who can win. We're going to get into a lot of debates and discussions, a lot of which with also Anthony Joshua and the fight he's going to get before the fight with Tyson Fury. We're going to talk about that and the risk involved, as well as so much more. We also got some rumors with Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson, the whole Zuffa boxing situation. That, again, we heard Matt Borgeson bring up on this show. Hey, we're going to have a lot of discussion now, because it seems like those rumors that were brought into this show are starting to build up into maybe a snowball's chance that there may be some truth to it. And if that's the case, oh my gosh, it's a lot to break down. I'm into that beyond just who can win and who can lose. Oh, it's a lot of stuff. Also, some news with Tank Davis. If you didn't hear, we got some potential updates with him in a fight that may be coming up with his next opponent in, we're going to spoil it right now, potentially Admiral Schofield, Floyd Schofield, Kid Austin himself may be fighting Tank on I think later this year in the summer, if with the rumors that he's been putting out over social media are in fact true. It's a lot that we got to discuss in the world of boxing. Oh, don't forget the biggest fight right now, Inoue versus Nakatani for the undisputed super bantamweight title in the biggest fight in Japanese history, and one of the biggest fights this year in all of boxing is going down. We are 4 days away from history in the making. Somebody's name getting etched in immortality. The Hagler Leonard of today's generation when it comes to two of the best in the world finally meeting against each other to clash for all the marbles. I'm so excited for it. I can't wait for it. We also got Benavidez and Zerto. We got a whole bunch of topics and discussion and conversation and debate that we're going to be diving into. We're going to be diving into. We are definitely going to be having some fun talking about with you all. So, hey, if you're tuning in and we're so happy that you're here, go ahead and leave a like on the video. Come on, leave a like on the stream. Go on and get the likes up for this show. Help this empire grow. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Come on and join the empire. Be a part of the hottest show in all the globe and join the biggest army that boxing and the sports world has to offer as a whole right here on YouTube, as well as you can listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple, Spotify, you name it, we're there. And if we're not, tell us, we will get there, no question about it. And rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts. And please do the most important thing, which is to like this stream and to share the show with everybody that you know, so we can keep on building up this empire together. All with you and your support, we can make this thing grow into the hottest commodity in all the sports, living up to the moniker of Elite Entertainment, all with you as the foundation of our show. And if you can support the channel, we have Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, as well as super chats, super gifts, stickers, and the like, all for you to go and help this show grow, flourish, and shine. It helps me to pay the bills, but it also helps me to edify the show, to make it bigger, better, and stronger for all you viewing and listening and watching around the world. No question about it. We already got people in the chat, like with Al Booger. How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. We're so happy that you're here on today. We appreciate you showing up as you do every single weekend. We got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about, and please put your chats down below. We want to hear from you as to everything that you got to say on the day, on anything that we discuss. And don't forget to stick around for the championship rounds, where you can have the whole control of the floor for the last 30 minutes to an hour of this show's run time. But we got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. We got boxing to into. We got some big news to break, and we got some debates to discuss. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to do what we do best, and that is to step into the ring, and it's time to start the show to talk about boxing. Come on, yes sir, let's get it started. Oh, buddy, it's time to work. And for the first topic of today's episode is none other than the biggest fight that just got signed on today. One of the biggest fights that we have this year. The fight we've been waiting on for 5 years in the making is officially going down. Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua is a done deal for 2026 this year. Yes, sir. We finally made it. Can you believe it? Can you believe, with all of the hope and prayers that we've been having for a number of years, we thought we'd never see today. This was looking like the second fight that would get away from us all, let alone a fight that we can only dream in our vastest of minds. And now it's officially here that one, or rather two, of some of the most polarizing and celebrated stars in the heavyweight division, both coming from the mean streets of the UK, has finally said we are going down to the UK for one more fight against each other to settle the debate as to who is the man that is the true king of England. That's what this is all about. Who's the king of England? Who's the king of the UK? Who's the king of the European boxing world when it comes to running as the face of that entire place? And I'm telling you, I'm so excited this is actually going down. I could not believe it when I heard it. I was shocked. I was appalled. Not appalled. I was enthralled. I was blown away. And we never thought we'd see it happen. We thought it was going to be the likelihood of this going down with the amount of stuff that had seemingly run this fight out to pasture, rather out of the pasture of ability to actually make something shake. Now it's actually going down. We heard Tyson Fury call on Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua said, hey, look, man, I don't talk a whole bunch. We're just going to sit and get stuff signed. If you really want this fight, sign on the dotted line with me, and we can make this stuff work. But if not, well, you can kiss your butt goodbye, and I'll go on and do other things. He's about business, and he seemingly held up to it. That's why he didn't agree to the middle of the ring, saying that we ain't going to just say, yeah, I'm going to accept your call out. I'm the man that runs the shots. Well, I don't care who ran the shot this time. All I know is the shot got fired. Somebody, both of them, pulled the trigger and said, we got work to do against each other. And now in the fourth quarter of 2026, this fight, Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua, is going to be slated to happen. And most likely this fight is going to elevate whoever wins immensely into the landscape of a championship opportunity. I wouldn't be surprised if whoever wins this, they get a shot instantly at Dubois versus at the winner of Dubois versus Wardley, or outright Usyk and Verhoeven. Whoever wins that fight, which most likely going to be, almost surely going to be Usyk, who wins that affair. Regardless of which, there's championship implications. There's legacy implications. There is pride implications. There's career trajectory of placement in the power that you hold for this era in boxing that is on the line. I mean, it's so many things involved with it. I can't wait to talk about it with you all. Let me see. Sean, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today. We're happy that you're here. We're happy that you tuned in, and we are all guns blazing. We have a whole host of activities to discuss, the first of which being Fury and Joshua, Fury and AJ, Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, versus Anthony Joshua, the pride of British boxing, are now finally going at each other. And again, let me show you the poster that was put up on social media by the likes of the Ring Magazine themselves, because there's some people that say, I'm not believing nothing till it's true. I'm not believing nothing till I see something. There's some people that are saying right now, I'm not believing a doggone thing up until we see them walk into the ring with each other. Not completely get that sentiment. Understand, I get it wholeheartedly, but let me show you this. This is the truth. This is from the ring themselves. This is the evidence we've been waiting on for a number of years to finally have this fight go down. It's insane to see. It's insane to see. Let me see. Sean, you got to talk about the fights on May 2nd. Well, oh, be clear. We are going to understand. We are not leaving any of those fights out the pasture. In fact, we are actually, a lot of this show is going to be about what's coming up on May 2nd. This just broke yesterday. So it's like one of the hottest points to talk about. So we got to discuss it. No question. But just and believe. We're talking Inoue Nakatani. We're talking Benavidez versus Zerto. Shoot, we can talk Jaime Munguia, who is fighting against Sidney. We got championship fights. We got Takuma Inoue also fighting on that same night or day, or on that same day of May 2nd. We got it's action abounding happening in May. Trust and believe. But let's get this out the way first with the current landscape of this fight, because it's a big deal. And let's start breaking down exactly what makes this fight so huge and why it's so important. This is more than just a bout between two of the old guard in the world of boxing. This is a huge situation because for both of these fighters, this is a non-negotiable affair. And that's both good, but it's also very dangerous. Now, why do we say non-negotiable? For some of you who haven't been here before, we have categorized certain fights in fighters' careers as non-negotiable affairs that must happen for their legacy to have the implications of greatness that it should. Ali Frazier was a non-negotiable. Ali Foreman, non-negotiable. There's a plethora of Ali fights that were just straight up non-negotiable. It had to happen to help Ali be as great as we see him as right now. Canelo Alvarez, his non-negotiable fight is, even to this day, David Benavidez. There is going to be a blip and or cap on Canelo's career trajectory and his greatness, even though it's already set in stone as one of the greatest in history. It can't elevate beyond a certain point if we don't get that fight against David Benavidez, or the work is going to take to balance out that lack of fight with Benavidez is immense, even with the legacy that he's hold to this day. But those are non-negotiables. Inoue versus Nakatani, that is a non-negotiable fight that has to happen for both of their careers, regardless of the greatness they've already shown. And they've shown a litany of greatness. We know. We've seen it in many, many times before. They are both some of the best in the globe. And their legacies are set in stone. And Junto, crazy enough, is only 27. He got even more than he can potentially do. But this fight between them is non-negotiable for their careers to reach a certain threshold of greatness. And for this fight, Fury versus AJ, this is that exact same situation. It's that exact same principle. This is a non-negotiable affair. If it did not happen, their careers as we know it would have had not an asterisk, but it would have had a cap. It would have had a barometer. It would have had a bar that it just can't cross, because we never saw that fight against each other. And because we're now getting it, it's what we're waiting on. This has been something that, this has been something that's so huge on the other side of it. Also because you can argue, and I even see you in the chat right now, like Sean and like with Beats. So what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in, Beats. Appreciate you on the show. But this is another thing that, as we see with Sean, honestly, I would have been more excited about it in 2018. But nevertheless, it's a big deal. Yeah, it has lost its luster. I have no issue with that. It's lost its luster. It's a fight that should have happened years ago. It should have. It should have. When they were both in line to have a potential undisputed championship opportunity. Yeah, it should have happened then. When they were both undefeated, it should have happened then. I'm with you there. But even with that being in the midst of the picture, the point still stands. This fight is so huge because not just is it one of those non-negotiable situations, but what this can change about each person's career would be incredible. If Fury beats Anthony Joshua, he would have successfully have faced off against all three of the current informer kings in boxing, like with Usyk, Wilder, and AJ, and beaten 2 out of the 3, and submitting himself as, in most people's minds, even more so, the second best heavyweight of today's generation, and would have cleaned out the majority of this whole division. Understandable, and which would have been incredible. Only blip is Usyk, but that's about it. when you look at that, that would be phenomenal. And even further bolster, okay, yeah, in this country, this may be the greatest fighter the UK has brought out. Yeah, you got Frank Bruno, you got Ricky Hatton, which you can credit to all those legends. Absolutely. I'm not diminishing them. I'm saying no, none of them, to my knowledge, as big as they were, got to be seen in complete totality as the man that ran a division or the division outright for as long as we had seen Fury do it, which, again, credit to itself, is an incredible feat. If he beats AJ, it's incredible. If AJ beats Fury, all of a sudden, and Matt Kellerman said this to some degree as well on his show Inside the Ring, what the chastisement of his career being, okay, in a lot of the big fights that you've had, you've lost, like with Usyk twice, like with the fights with Andy Ruiz in the upset situation, it was, and Daniel Dubois, all of a sudden, this shuts a lot of people up that have been having concerns about where AJ is in the rankings of the boxing world and how good he actually should be considered in the grand scheme of his career. Also, it puts him in a position to do what Usyk said he had the capability to do, which was to become undisputed in the world of the heavyweight regime and lose the last years of his potential physical prime, even though, again, he looks like he passed his prime. If we see Usyk have trained him right, all of a sudden, this could be a whole different monster. And his entire landscape of what could be ahead of him for when he does in his career changes immensely. And, of course, the pride of UK, when he was the one that was, when Fury was gone, and he was the one carrying it on his back, this could solidify, okay, it wasn't a fluke, or we weren't underestimating how good this brother was during that peak. He is just a dog, because he beat the man who everybody said at that point in time was at one point the best heavyweight in the world, and if ever since, even to this day, Usyk came on the scene, the second best heavyweight in the world. A lot of stuff and questions get shut up, which is phenomenal. And his all-time trajectory gets elevated. It's insane. And from the standpoint of the volatility of what this fight can be, even at this older stage, both of them are not what they used to be. Tyson Fury is not moving at all, be clear. And the standpoint of his ability to be fleet of foot, he ain't got it no more.
Hey, look at this. We got some problems here. What? We got some problems
here. It is up and it is gone. He is no longer the same fleet-footed, bouncing around, mobile tower of power that he was during his prime, during when he beat Klitschko, and ultimately what he had showed in his last, or in the first fight with Usyk. After that, he's never been that guy anymore. And I don't think he can get back to that guy, because age is naturally passing him by. And the Joshua similar situation. Not the same brother. Athleticism, as much as he's still a physical freak, athleticism in age has started to diminish. The power's still there. But some of the same reaction time, twitchiness, especially the chin, has been a shot situation. The confidence has been a question for a number of years. And the skill sets have waned up and down for AJ specifically. Hopping from trainer to trainer, going and trying to come back and recalibrate his career, and looking for that yin and yang they used to have in the heights of his tenure as a dominant, monstrous heavyweight. Both of them are not the same brother, which is going to equate to somebody's going to have to dig deep and find something new about themselves. Because if they can't, it could be a bad news for one or the other against the other. So it's insane. You know, I love this. I can't wait to see it. I'm so excited for it. But let me see what y'all got to say on the day. And maybe we're going to talk about May 2nd. We got a whole host of conversations. It's just, this is the latest news. If you didn't know, Fury and AJ are going to fight and have signed on 2026 this year to have a fight in fourth quarter, which most likely is going to be November, December, which I'm excited for, and I can't wait to see it. But let me see what you all got to say. David doesn't make his mark. People will forget Canelo ducked David. Like people forgot Mayweather ducked Winky Wright before he was winning. That is true. Now, I don't think it's going to be that we had to have that concern, because Again, this is a conversation for later on in the show. We can delve into it a little bit. I don't think that this is going to be the right case because of the fact that with David Benavidez and Canelo, Benavidez has already made his mark. That's the thing. Light heavyweight was the mark that he needed to make, and he did it. Especially that last fight. Got a whole bunch of people buzzing with him versus Anthony Yarde. And now, if he does this at cruiserweight, well, he would have done something that Canelo couldn't do. Move up well past his ability, or well past his frame of where his body should be able to operate in, and beat somebody. This is going to be the biggest challenge of his test, biggest challenge against him in a physical vein. And if you conquer that, 2 weight classes above light heavyweight, or above super middleweight, excuse me, all of a sudden, I dare say just the fact he got to this point, and he's already set his mark, and he would have fought Bivol. He would have, if he, this would have, that mark that you're looking for would have already been there. And even if he loses against Zurdo, if he goes back down to light heavyweight, I'm still saying who's going to beat him. It ain't going to be many people. And it's still going to be, everybody's looking for Canelo, especially after losing to Crawford. Hey, you got business to handle now. You got your money. You fought one of the biggest fights of the year. You lost, but that don't mean it abstains you that you still ain't fought your biggest op. That is supposed to be your rival. So unlike with Winky Wright, Benavidez is a bigger star than Winky Wright. And Benavidez right now has the global appeal, with all due respect to Winky Wright, that Winky Wright didn't have. To be able to have him always on the mind of people. And I think he is in a position that there's, just like with Tyson Fury AJ, the noise will never stop. And it will be held against him. Because Benavidez he's become memorable, and valid for a whole bunch of people. At least in my opinion, for my thoughts. Let me keep on reading what you all got to say, because we got a lot of people chatting in the show. Let me see. Yo, Sergey, what's going on with it? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for joining in on the show with us. And we're happy that you chose to join our humble abode of the Welch Report. Leave a like on the video if you haven't already. Go ahead and please get the likes up. It helps our show immensely. We compete with a lot of big boys today. I'm not going to lie. We got a lot of people on stream right now. Hey, we try to do the best that we can. But with you all's help, we can go and compete punch above our weight class. Even though we essentially, the most of the time, we the young Mike Tyson, we are the early days of Sugar Ray Robinson when it comes to an empire of a community that is going to steamroll the whole of the competition around the sporting environment, not just the boxing world. Oh, we take on everybody under the sun. You're doggone right, but we can't do it without your help. No question about it. But let me see what you got to say. Let me see. Welch. Congrats to all boxing fans, and especially you especially. Look, I appreciate it. We better late than never. Hey man, look, you've been here. You Sergey, you have known for years, since we've been on the channel. We've been begging for this fight on this channel to happen. We've been pleading to with every fighter I've been, to God above, Lord, let this happen. And thank goodness I don't care if it's too late. It happened. I don't care if it's past the due date. We finally got it together. And when we thought it would never take place, thank the Lord. Because I was about to say, man, we were about to see 2 fights get away from us. Dare I say 3. Tank versus Shakur. Canelo versus Benavidez. And then Fury versus AJ. It would have been 4 with Fury versus Usyk if that fight didn't actually happen. I thought I was gonna be in the greatest what if era in boxing history, because we would have 4 of some of the biggest fights that would have defined our generation blow up in smoke. Thank gosh that ain't the case. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Thank the Lord. I'm not living in that yet. That's a bad timeline. I tell you. The TVA from Marvel gonna have to go and would have to came in here and scrub this whole timeline, because I don't want to live in this world if we ain't get these fights coming up. I'm glad that we are, absolutely. But like you said, look, congratulations to all of us boxing fans and anybody who's been waiting for this fight. Your prayers have been answered, and we finally got a touch of war. No question about it. But like I said, we're gonna cover the rest of the boxing globe Just wanted to touch on Fury versus AJ. We're going to have some more conversations throughout the night, or throughout the day, excuse me. But we also got some other stuff that we're going to cover. So we're going to see these last couple chats and then transition over into May 2nd action with Inoue Nakatani, Benavidez versus Zerto, and so much more. But let me see. Who you got? I ain't giving any predictions till AJ fights this tournament. Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you. I almost forgot. As much as we were talking about this fight, I do have to preference this. Who do I have winning? At this point, it's Tyson Fury, but only because of what you said right here, Chone. We don't know what AJ looks like, and it's important because Anthony Joshua is having his own tune-up before he takes this fight with Tyson Fury. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. There's more to this story than just a fight got made. We got 2 fights that we can look forward to at the end of this year. We got Anthony Joshua getting ready, not even getting ready. He is signed and is going to fight the likes of what's his name? Let me find his name right here. In fact, he posted it on his social media so I can make sure I read it correctly. But his comeback fight is against Pringa. He's fighting against Pringa in a tune-up bout this year. I believe the date should be on this poster right here. As you can see, July 25th, he's fighting against Pringa. Now, I believe Pringo has been a former champion, or I believe a former interim champion before. He's not rated high in the heavyweight regime. I believe he's outside the top 15, but he still is. He is the comeback fight. He is the tune-up. He is a test to see the full maturation of what this newly revamped Anthony Joshua is supposed to be, and that's very important. That's very important. And it's more important than just, we're seeing AJ come back. Look at this from this type of perspective. This is AJ's one and only chance to see if all this work he's been doing is worth it. It's paying off. Because the biggest thing about Usyk and AJ, with this tune-up fight now, July 25th, Joshua versus Pringa, excuse me. Anthony Joshua has been looking for, like I said, the yin and yang, trying to find his style of boxing that maximizes his power, but keeps his fundamental aspects to a T, to make him one of the most well-balanced boxers that the heavyweight division had to offer. If he can't find that with Usyk, and if it doesn't show up in this fight with Pringa, he is going to be having a hard time going up against Tyson Fury. It's going to be hard. And this fight will probably sway the odds as to who gets favored between Joshua and Fury. I guarantee you. Because we've already had, with the very fact that AJ watched Fury and we watched Fury fight against Makhmudov, and Makhmudov versus Fury made Tyson Fury look essentially, dare I say, not even vulnerable. It was just like, okay, we're here now. Makhmudov versus Fury shows the public, Fury is a flat-footed fighter now. He is fighting fully. He's not just a giant that can move. It's a giant that fights like a giant. This isn't Andre the Giant anymore. In his prime years, that was mobile, jumping over the top rope at 7'3", and also able to run insanely fast. This is now Andre the Giant in his later years. He's a big dude that fights like a big dude because he can't move like that, but he's going to maximize his size now in a way that he could still do it in the past, but he's now even more committed to. But one of the best attributes of his game is gone. He can be in a tussle with somebody like Anthony Joshua, who, as an inside fighter, if you're going to be in close range, if it gets to a point where you're in the clinch like that, AJ ain't like Makhmudov. That buddy, he can work. He really can. And so there's some vulnerability there. Getting out of the way of shots of Anthony Joshua. Because your feet aren't the same, there's some vulnerability there. But with Anthony Joshua, it's the same thing. But if we still see that you can't put the yin and yang together, defense and offense fluidly together, and we see that what Usyk has taught you is not conducive to your game, or even with what he's telling you, you just can't be what you want to be, it's going to be Fury probably going to be favored by a lot of people. So this fight is more than just a litmus test. This is, let's call it what it is. This is exactly what we saw with Nakatani and Inoue when they fought on the same card against each other. Inoue fight against Picasso, Nakatani fight against Hernandez. Nakatani versus Hernandez made a lot of people sway into thinking, okay, Nakatani he ain't gonna be able to beat Inoue. Though his skill set is his skill set, because what we saw against somebody, to see, like Hernandez, to see what his level of fighter is at this point in time in his career at this new division. Ooh, a lot different than we expected. All of a sudden, this brother might be in trouble. The perception of what his viability is shifted. Now he's a 450 favorite, or a 450 point underdog. Essentially, you got to bet $450 to get 100 back, or you bet 100, you get 450, because people think he's gonna lose. The perception of that fight changed the whole dynamics of you ain't got what you need. For AJ, it's a similar thing, but he's going up against somebody else. So now we see, hey, he had flaws in his own game, and there's a Fury, and you didn't have what you need to show us outright confidence. Yeah, you're gonna be able to walk through Anthony Joshua. So it's the ball is in AJ's court to really shift the perception of how competitive this fight can be on his end. Because there's a window to really make the people believe in you. There really is. There really is. But it's a matter of if you can take advantage of that against an opponent that you're supposed to be. With a fight that's supposed to be a showcase to get you back comfortable in the ring in a professional sense. Not with Anthony Joshua, not with Jake Paul, a real fighter. You still got to show us, okay, hey, what you worked on and who you are supposed to be is in fact lining up 1-to-1. Because if not, we can have some concern. But yeah, I'm picking Fury right now up until we see Anthony Joshua come back. After July, we can have a better conversation. Because we're gonna have the best full picture of who AJ is at this point in time to actually cultivate it. Let me see. What's up with Chinny heavyweights always taking two nuts versus sluggers? I mean, like, it is, at this point, it is what it is. And for what Anthony Joshua is preparing for, I hate to say it, but he's got to have some level of danger going up against him, because he needs to make sure that he's where he needs to be, as do we. And we don't want him fighting somebody that's oh so abysmal. I mean, again, I didn't want him to take a 2-0 fight at all. I wanted him to go straight into the Tyson Fury fight. I said that. I said I don't want to risk something going wrong. But if you are going to do something, it's like, well, now that you win it, somebody that's beatable is necessary, but also somebody that can at least bring you something that you need to take advantage of to make sure that you got your psyche in the right spot. Because if he goes against somebody that ain't got no power, they ain't got no threat level at all, it's not the fact that he's going to be beaten. That's the biggest concern. But it's the fact that to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to work on, that you worked on in the gym, that you're doing in the fight, may not come in the way that it needs to. Because if you're working with Usyk, even though he's fighting Rico Verhoeven, how does Usyk always work? If we're going to do something, we're going to do something all the way. We're going to fight somebody all the way. If we're going to do a regime change, and rather a skill set shift to make sure you are where you need to be, we're going to put you against somebody that's beatable. But we're going to be fighting somebody that you better make sure you do what you're supposed to do. Because if not, there's no real testing ground that validates, okay, yeah, this is the real skill that you have. It's more than just you memorized the test. Now you've actually learned because you did it in a live situation against somebody who, though this is a job that's easy, if you mess up, it could be lights out. Makhmudov, with Tyson Fury being a flat-footed fighter, fighting against Makhmudov, though we thought, yeah, he's going to win. The danger was, okay, hey, you may not have your feet together. And if you just standing straight up in front of him, Makhmudov is enough of a heavy puncher that he could be a potential danger. And if we saw Usyk rock you, knock you down, had you on Dream Street for 30 seconds straight, Makhmudov has definitely got that level of power. So, your deficiencies working against you, what can you do? Even though it's a fighter, you should be able to win. That's what this is. For my speculation, that's what this looks like it's supposed to be. But yeah, if he loses, it's going to be dangerous. It's going to be dangerous. Let me see. I would have loved to see Andy Ruiz trilogy tune-up. I think, yeah. But see, here's the issue, though. Well, no, it's not really an issue. It's not really an issue. That would have been a good fight. It would have, at the same breath, Andy Ruiz has priced himself out of situations like with the Deontay Wilder, when it was similar vein. You're a good fight for somebody. You potentially get a shot at another big-time star, and now you ask for too much money. He may have priced himself out of some of these bigger named fights because he did it before. Brother sometimes just asks for too much. That could be why we didn't get this trilogy. Or it could be because, yeah, we just don't want to go through that again. We outbox you a second time, we ain't going to do it a third time. So, and why risk it, quote unquote, potentially. Again, speculation. I don't know. I'm simply going through options. But this all could be the things that go through the mind. But either way, that's what's going on with this AJ Fury situation. AJ and Fury are fighting 2026, November, December, most likely. AJ's got a tune-up, as you can see. And if we see it go down, great. We got ourselves a fight at the end of the year that hopefully will be one of the best fights that we have of the year, and a 50-50 affair that has everybody up in arms and incredibly insane. I would love that. If not, well, we walk that bridge when we get there. But at this point in time, that's the news of the biggest upsets when it comes to the world of boxing right now. But we got more stuff in the world of conversation. Like with May 2nd, it's going down, and we are ready to talk about one of the biggest fights of the year happening this weekend. We got Inoue versus Nakatani. We are 4 days. No, wrong button. Hold on, wait a minute. There we go. We are 4 days away from one of the biggest fights of the year. Without a doubt, the big kahuna, the dominant fixture in power and pain in terms of a combination of fight, height, skill, absolute footwork. Everything you would want from both of these fighters is at the highest of high levels, and Nakatani and Inoue, 2 of the 3 kaijus at 122 and below, are finally going to duke it out against each other for the undisputed Super Bantamweight championship of the world, in a fight that has been raging in speculation and anticipation for 5 straight years. And it's the greatest thing in the world. It's the greatest thing in the world. And we have, mind you, we're going to be doing breakdowns Thursday. We're doing straight up breakdowns and predictions, breaking down who can win, how can they can win, what's the X factor. What we normally do, we're going to be doing that on this show. Thursday afternoon, we still going to be talking, absolutely. But my full-blown, written down, dissection, film study, and all that stuff, we're going to be having that on Thursday afternoon. So be here for that. It's going to be a doozy of a show. But I'm telling you, this fight going to be worth the hype. And it's a fight that has been my dream. I'm going to tell you this right now. Spence and Crawford was my first kind of mega fight that I was fully aware of. Pacquiao and Floyd, that was the first one ever for me. Absolutely, outright. But in terms of like following this whole build up to a fight, this one's the first one I've seen that got me really, I mean, just from start to finish, I've been able to watch this whole thing build up. And now, I'm enthralled as can be. I'm not even going to sleep on Saturday. You're going to see me, I'm going to be up till 12, and I'm going to be up after 6, and I'm going to be up all the way till 8 o'clock. Oh, yeah, we're going to be there. We're going to be there. It's going to be insane to witness. I can't wait for you all to be a part of that live stream with us on that day. But let me see what you all got to say as we're continuing to talk about the fights as a whole. Hold on, wait a minute. It's just, wait, hold on, wait a minute. Dimitri Bivens' WBO light heavyweight title won't be on the line versus Michael Eifert on May 30th in Russia due to ongoing conflict with Ukraine, per WBO President Gustavo. Interesting. Okay, I did not know that. So it's just for the IBF title. And WBA just saw the news on Ring's Twitter. Okay, I didn't know that. We appreciate the update. I did not recognize that was going to be a factor into some of the championship situations that people was going with as he continues to get ready for his return to be at the top of the mountain as the best light heavyweight in the world. Hypothetically, again, we still want to see that fight with Ultimate BF, but appreciate the information. And it shines a new light. We do love that. However, we're going to address that in a little bit, in a little bit, as we get to the light heavyweight division next in the other segment. Right now, we're going to stick with Inoue and Nakatani being 4 days away. And more specifically, when it comes to talking about this fight, there is something that I needed to bring up when it came to an issue that Inoue can have when it comes to fighting. We talked about something that can get with Nakatani and that can put him down and hurt him. And that is shots to the body. That's the thudding explosion shots downstairs. The body work of Nakatani, even though they both love to work downstairs, Nakatani, with that wide or long frame, long torso, has the capacity to get, maybe not necessarily hurt, because he's but as tough as can be. He loves going to wars of attrition. He loves going to fight in the trenches. He loves to work where the iron is hot. But he can still get tagged and get stepped back by that power going downstairs if he ain't careful, like he was when he fought against Hernandez. That's on Nakatani's end. Inoue's end, how does he get caught and hurt and potentially put in trouble against Nakatani? And everybody was saying, and we said it too, the left straight or left hook of Nakatani can be the biggest weapon. Oh, absolutely. Again, he's called Big Bang for a reason. And just Big Bang Jane as a factor. Big Bang Nakatani is also a banging type of fighter. That brother will explode the mess out of your consciousness. This man will put you asleep with one punch. He can definitely do that. But beyond that, the other biggest factor is the how. How does that punch land? And we're going to bring this up on tomorrow's show, but before today, we're going to still talk about it. How does that punch land? How does that shot get through to get to Inoue and do the same thing that we saw Luis Nery do the same thing that we saw Ramon Cardenas do? Dare I say, do the same thing that we saw Ahmadali do in those last 10 seconds of round 12 in that shutout performance by Inoue. And it's not just throwing the left hook. Oh, excuse me. It's not just throwing the left hook. It's about throwing it when Inoue, dare I say it, gets too greedy. It's about throwing it when he gets too greedy. It's about throwing it when he gets too greedy. If we see Nakatani do what Cardenas did and do what Luis Nery did, which was throw the shot when Inoue is trying to continue the chain of punches, he can get him. And again, he's the one brother that if you put him down, he can potentially keep him down. If he doesn't keep him down, like I said, he's got one chance. He's got one chance to land that blow to end it all. But if anybody can do it, it's him. But it's off of landing that shot to be able to catch him when Inoue is still trying to keep that pressure going. Essentially, play the most dangerous game in boxing. Trade with him. Trade with him. That's what you do. You trade with Inoue. It sounds sacrilegious, but it's a point to be made because if you trade with Inoue, that was a big time risk. Knowing that he wants to continue the onslaught even after, okay, seemingly the one of the biggest things about him, when the combination ends for normal opponents, okay, they got a chance to breathe. Inoue punches when you don't have a chance to breathe. But if you're prepared for that, and you're able to be patient enough or have the speed and technique to land the shorter shot of a punch, you got a chance to tag him. And that's what Nakatani's got to do. Land in those trades. Take a chance with the ultimate chance taker. And be patient. And let Inoue see you as you think you're safe. Now I can jump in. Again, we said Roy Jones Jr. did that a little bit as well. A lot of times in Roy's career, he would punch you when you would think you were safe after exchanges, and then boom, all of a sudden closing quick as lightning, knock you out, rock your head back, and all of a sudden you don't know where he's coming from. Because there's no way that there's no place you can go that you feel like you have a chance to breathe. Inoue loves to thrive on that need to breathe. When you try to gasp for air, he's up. No, I'm still here. But if Nakatani can be able to hold his breath longer than the average man and make it seem like, hey, I'm vulnerable when I'm actually not, that chance for a trade, it's there. And if it happens, boy, I'm telling you, it can get scary out here. It can get scary. It can get really scary, no question about it. But that's one of the things that we want to talk about with this fight when it comes to the action over the weekend. And again, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we are going to be able to discuss. I promise you that. We have more people in the chat that we want to make sure that we get involved with as we're reading your conversations and all of your reactions to the fight. And we got more people like, hey, Dr. Umar, how you doing? Good to, hold on, let me change the thing. Hold on. How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today. So happy that you are here joining us on our live stream. And let me, also, I'm in Rhoda. How you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on the show. So glad that you joined in with us on today. Let me see. I'm in Rhoda. You said first you should watch Alan Chavez last performance on Saturday. Potential for a future champion at lightweight. I will look up on him after this show. Like I said, we had some stuff I had to do. As I'm saying now, I've had some stuff I had to do, and I'm also trying to prep for the film study and the full breakdown of both fights on the weekend. So kind of been, last week or two, all enthralled with this action, coupled with the Tyson Fury situation. Everything's kind of just running together with a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, I will try to look up on that as well. Let me see, Dr. Umar, how you doing? Gene, the Brotherhood needs you. Well, look, hopefully I'm here to please the Brotherhood as it's stated. But let me see, you'll be paired with Tyro. Hey man, I don't need no Nacho Fox inside me, but I got my own power. I'm like moderate, but I'll take anybody on by myself. I tell you what. But let me keep on reading. What you all gotta say? I think this is a shame for the WBO organization. Should ignore. I think this is a shame from WBO boxing organization. Should ignore this. I know you said discuss this later. But just wanted to put it out there, hypocrisy. And again, like I said, we're sure that we can ebb and flow. Again, we have our main points. We can delve into it a little bit. We've talked about hypocrisy with organizations and fighting and boxing as a whole. This is nothing new. Now, do I like it? No. Do I think it's fair? Looking at the situation, I don't think so. I don't think that is the sentiment of with the conflict and all this stuff. We want to keep essentially try to quote unquote keep the peace, but like it's not I don't think, from my knowledge, I don't think any of these fighters are actively like supporting said war involved, and they're in my understanding bystanders in this whole situation. And now their fight that they earned is being affected by this whole sentiment. Which again, it's not their fault. And so I don't I don't like it. That's me. I don't like, even with the explanation, I don't think that should happen. In fact, I think a similar situation like this happened a couple years earlier, as when this war first initially started. Not trying to get into the whole geopolitical landscape and all that stuff, which again, we are not against having those conversations, but it's just at this point in time, for the sake of timeliness, as well as to make sure I don't say something that isn't correct based on what I know and based on what I understand about this whole situation and what's happened in the past. I don't really get why, it's me, I think this is wrong. Because the fighters are hurting for something that they have no attachment outside of being from said countries. And it's like, because of what the government's doing, they're getting chastised and they're getting robbed of a potential opportunity that they deserved and that they earned. And I don't vibe with it. Again, that's just me. I don't vibe with it. It's my opinion. But like I said, we'll have more time to talk about that later on in the show. But we do want to make sure we keep this going with this whole Inoue Nakatani Benavidez Zurdo weekend and talks of conversation. And also, as we continue to discuss this, we have more stuff with the Benavidez Zurdo situation, more specifically, some news that he's willing to come back down to light heavyweight to fight against Dimitri Bivol after he fights against Zurdo Ramirez, if he is successful. Now, we had said this already, but I think he's doubled down on this, and more specifically, it's because of a sentiment that we had seen him have over social media when he was talking. I think he put out like a promotional thing, kind of like essentially a mid-training promo, going and talking about what his driving force for why he's fighting, what makes him so demonstrative and wanting to go for the knockout every time. He wants, essentially, respect. He wants respect. And with this respect comes a level of necessary obstacle that he is not running from, which I have been touting for years as an incredible sentiment of not just action, but outright greatness. Because this is what we have been missing when it comes to the world of boxing. Or at least when it comes to a lot of the greats that we had complained about, we're not getting the fights that we want. He's actively continuing to pursue. It's because he's valuing the respect of his legacy over just the protection of the money. We've said it multiple times. The protection with legacy comes money. If he gets the respect, it solves everything else. And he's thinking like that. And I'm gonna play the clip for you all to show you exactly what I mean. But before I do, let me read some of your chats on today. Let me see. We will also talk about Munguia versus Cindy's active in the video. Oh yeah, no, we can talk about some of the bigger fights on that card. Absolutely. Because we want to make sure. Wait, hold on. My stream's acting up. Hold on a minute. Hold on. Stream's acting up. Wait a minute. Wait a second. You gotta make sure the stream don't conk out on me. Wait a minute. Hold on. Give me one. Wait a minute. Hold on. Am I losing y'all? Wait a second. Eyes are wide because I'm trying to make sure we good. We good. We okay? Thumbs up in the chat if we good. Hearts, do something. I'll type whatever. Say I don't know nothing about boxing. Okay, we're good. Okay. Thank gosh. Okay. Thank goodness. All right, boy. I started stuttering. I started getting wide-eyed. I started freezing. I got nervous. I had to make some adjustments. We good. We ain't okay. But as we're continuing to talk about both of these fights, Nakatani Inoue, Zurdo, and Benavidez, we're gonna be discussing some of the bigger fights in the midst of this whole week, or some of the other fights, in the midst of this whole weekend, like with Munguia and with Cindy's. But let's stick with Zurdo and Benavidez at this point, because Benavidez and Zurdo, This is a magnum opus affair to go. And like Sean, it's like you had said earlier, and you had said something about Benavidez may be forgotten. Well, if he wins this, he won't be forgotten in terms of held against Canelo. But it's because he's making a legacy without Canelo. And this will be insane. Mind you, we had seen it's not many fighters that are trying to do what he's trying to do. Him fighting Zurdo, who has also been a very tenured cruiserweight, fought against Bivol already, and has been at this division for a very long time. He's a full-fledged cruiserweight, just like Usyk is now a full-fledged heavyweight. After moving up, he's filled into the body. He has made his presence felt and known. He's no longer just a man who's trying to elevate his way into a new life. This is his life. That type, and we talked about this with Canelo and Crawford, built on muscle that's been fortified for a number of years versus new muscle and new size that you just put on, but it hasn't fully settled in to your body's frame. It can work and operate differently. And that type of settled in frame of body that Zurdo has may be more conducive to do some damage on Benavidez that Benavidez may not be expecting. Now, still think Benavidez is going to win. Be clear. Still think he's going to go and beat Zurdo Ramirez. I dare say he can put on a master class of straight up decimating boxing skill. Destructive boxing acumen. I do believe he can do it. I really do. I believe. Well, hold on. Give me one second. Let me take a drink. Hold on. Hold on a minute. Okay. All right. Just had to hydrate a little bit. I've been talking for an hour. I forgot to drink. I had to hydrate for a little bit. But Benavidez, as a fighter, if he does accomplish this goal against the bigger framework of Zurdo Ramirez, not just will it be an incredible feat, not just will it be something that will put him in a very rarefied air of competition. Because mind you, we saw James Toney also move up and get all the way to heavyweight. But again, it's not common. We saw Roy Jones Jr. go all the way to heavyweight as well. Again, not saying that Benavidez will in fact go out there, though he said that he will. We'll see what happens. But either way, it's not common to move up in this type of vein. It is an incredible feat in and of itself, because if he does accomplish it, well, there's two ways he can go with this. Either Benavidez can stick to his word, go back down to Bivol, try to get his fight, get his belt, do what he wanted to do all these years. Absolutely. Or he can go and try to fight Jai Patai. Dare I say, even though Jai Patai got stripped of a title, he may just say, forget it. I don't care if you with Zuffa or not, because he's one fighter. I can say, it don't matter where you are, he'll just fight you wherever. Just say, yeah, I'll go and fight him. And I'll stay up here with the bigger guns. And straight up then, after he beats them too, if he does, all right, you know what, Bivol? You got it. I'm going after the last division. And I'm going after heavyweight. It's a muddied path, because depending on this performance against Zurdo can dictate the viability that we can see the public all of a sudden say, oh man, this buddy can go into heavyweight easy. We could be seeing ourselves a potential champion at heavyweight easily. It's going to be that type of sentiment, that type of perception. Theme of this show has been perception for a lot of different fighters. And there's a lot of different perception fights. And by perception fights, I mean fights that have the ability to dictate the public's view on what your capacity of next step can be. What's your potential of what you can choose to do next time out, whether it's against an opponent or with a career change, or excuse me, a career move. Shakur beating to you at 140 got the public saying, "Oh yeah, 147, easy work." And now you're hearing everybody under the sun talk about Devin Haney versus Zurdo Ramirez, not versus Zurdo, Devin Haney versus Shakur at 147 or catchweight at 144, and everybody's saying, "Yeah, we can see him do that. That ain't out the picture. That's not too much." People are saying that's not too much. Tank after he beat Mario Barrios, everybody's been saying for years he could have fought at 140 again years ago. He could have. And Benavidez is in the same situation of, hey, if you fight and beat Zurdo, then you better believe if you choose to go and fight at heavyweight hypothetically, or even stay at this division, we're going to say, oh, yeah, that's right in the cards. And the possibility fuels the imagination. The imagination of the boxing public leads to revenue. It leads to money. We see Boots Ennis. Boots Ennis handing Lima at 154. Boom. Okay, he definitely belongs here. If he beats Xander Zayas in dominant fashion, what's the perception? This brother, talent-wise, and with his championships, being a unified champion, if he beats Xander Zayas, well, now he's the best at 154 outright. A lot of people are going to be saying that. And if it ain't Ortiz or Fundora, like we've been saying, nobody can beat him. And now the world is his oyster, and there's only two people that can beat him. Unlike what the current landscape is, which is there's a bunch of names that people can say that can give Boots some potential trouble, even if we say that he can win. The perception all of a sudden elevates Boots to where there's no equal except for two people. All because of one fight. And with Benavidez, is that type of situation. Not just with pound-for-pound implications, not just with championship implications, but with the identity of where he can get up to. Down or up, fluctuating light heavyweight or heavyweight. Wherever he chooses to go, he wins this fight in a fashion that I think he can win it in, which is total domination. We're going to be having a lot of people, I mean a lot of people, saying heavyweight is not, forget out the question. Heavyweight, for some people, going to be saying, yeah, we want to see him there. Watch. Mark my words. He handles Zurdo in a dominant fashion. You're going to see people saying him versus Moses Talma may just be an actual viable fight. Him versus Usyk is going to be a type of fight that's going to be thrown around. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm being dead serious. Him versus any of the top 15 is all of a sudden going to be seen as maybe it ain't too far out the question. All Mexican war between him and Andy Ruiz. Hey, that might not be so far-fetched anymore. Working his way up in the rankings might not be so, at only 28 years old, might not be so far-fetched that the final step in the heavyweight regime, or the final step in this career, which is the heavyweight landscape, is actually possible for him. It can, mark my words. Mark, I guarantee you. Watch what the conversation is after May 2nd if we see him win in a dominant fashion. One of the most trending sound bites that you'll hear people say, I want to see him against Usyk. Mark it. I want to see him against Usyk. What would Benavidez versus AJ hypothetically look like? I promise you, that's going to be the conversation. That's going to be the conversation. I guarantee you. Watch it. Watch it unfold. But even still, let me keep on reading what you all have to say on today. I think it makes or breaks for Munguia like Shiraz versus Berlanga was for Berlanga. I could see him with Zuffa if we lose. Okay, yes, we can start talking about the other fights on said card. Munguia versus Resendiz. I believe that's who's fighting. Yeah. It's Munguia versus Resendiz. Munguia versus Resendez is a fight that, to some degree, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. This is a dangerous situation for Munguia. After popping against Saras, and before that fight, getting knocked out against a fighter who only had 4 knockouts on his entire career. And then the lack of evolution when you've been training with Canelo and that team. That is a very good stable and a very good coach. There's a lot of concern that if Resendez beats Munguia, the Munguia train, though he's still going to be a name, still going to carry a fan base, absolutely, but that same believability of his competitive nature, especially in this newly shuffled dynamic of the super middleweight division, it's going to be gone. It's going to be gone. And Zuffa may be a fight that needs to, may be the next place. Now, I think if he didn't sign with Zuffa after his loss, he's a viable enough commodity that other people still want to bring him up as part of his stable because he makes exciting fights. He's a fighter that is fan-friendly, and his fan base does follow him. So it's not like he's just this is a last resort. But they also overpaying people. Zuffa's also going through and trying to make it so that everybody goes to their regime because they throw money left, right, and center. So it's a possibility, but don't think it's going to exactly happen. At least as the first foremost thought. But the career implications, it's real. Yeah, if he loses against Resendez, yeah, you can kiss that competitiveness, that proximity to a title. You can kiss that goodbye. You can kiss that rat race of who's going to be in this shuffle of the top echelon of a top heavy, super heavyweight, a super middleweight division at 168. You can kiss that top heavy sect goodbye. You can kiss it go. Now you are going into more of a litmus test for other fighters looking to get into the gap of stardom and championship contending status. If they can't beat you, they don't belong in that regime. But if they do beat you, then they should. But you are going to be a part of that threshold. Caleb Plant, also part of that threshold right now. He can be in the same position that Caleb Plant's in. People don't buy into Caleb Plant as a viable championship contender, but they know he's a good fighter. But they also know if you beat him, you belong to be talked about. Okay, he's a real threat. But we're not saying Caleb Plant in himself is a real threat when compared to the rest of the people that are actually in that field of we're in the jostling race to get a belt around our waist. He can fall into that after this fight. He really can. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he's going to go and retool. And be clear, he's not going to retool. Because there's no other way he knows how to fight. That's the thing. That's the real thing.
Hey, look at this. We got some problems here.
That's the truth.
We got some problems
There's
here.
no other way he knows how to fight because that's it. That's all he's got. Is I'm just going to fight. Going forward, coming one way, being a body puncher, looping hooks, and I'm trying to pressure you. It's not a bad style, but we've seen it exposed now to the point that there's got to be an extra element, and there's not an extra element. And with Canelo, there hasn't been trained an extra element. And that's a big time problem. This is what you are. And it looks like there's no other dimension or addition to your one-dimensional ability. And that's going to bite him in the butt. Especially against Resendez, who I think is a sharper technical puncher. I'm not saying he's a uber impressive technical fighter. But part of the way you can beat Munguia is if you are able to deliver your punches A to B in a straighter line. Because he will swing his hooks wide a lot. He's got a good chin, But also, we seen that chin. You land right, yeah, he's going to sleep and he ain't getting up. He's tough, but he's got toughness to a point. He's vulnerable. And Vicini's can take advantage of that vulnerability. He really can. And if he got enough pop to, mind you, Caleb is a tough customer. Caleb Plant's a tough customer. If he got enough power to rock Caleb Plant at least 2 or 3 times in his fight with him, he got enough power to put Munguia in some real trouble if Munguia keeps on swinging wide. He does. He really does. So it's going to be a whole lot of questions. Caleb versus Berlanga in Zuffa boxing. Ooh. That would be a good fight. That would be a very good fight. I'm not gonna lie. Watching that fight, that'll be interesting. That would be the power of Berlanga versus the jab and feet of Caleb Plant would be interesting to say the least. And it can quickly evolve or devolve into a straight up slugfest. Because we've seen Caleb Plant, if he just got to go and say, okay, I can't outmove him, so I just got to plant my feet and start working on the inside, he'll do it. Got the heart of a lion, so I'd watch that. I would absolutely watch that fight. Al Booga, you say Caleb versus Edgar is a very fun fight. Could see Caleb knocking him out. I don't know if Caleb can knock him out. Again, he knocked out, I think, Durrell. He knocked out Durrell in the knockout of the year. But I don't know if he's got the pop that is needed to put down Berlanga. He has the countering ability. But I don't know if he has the punching power to put him to sleep at 168. Berlanga got a big head. And he can take a punch now. Now Shiraz is a different animal. That's a different puncher. That's a different frame of popping power entirely. Again, he punches like a scythe in some situations. You see him split the air. Them long limbs, but still somehow at 168 he still looks a little bit wiry. That man, like he can put you out, man. That's a different level of power. Had Berlanga thinking there was something in his glove. To this day, still thinks there was something in his glove. There wasn't, there isn't, and there never was in the first place. So, I don't know what, but again, he might be still dazed and confused from that shot that Shiraz hit him with. But in all seriousness, the man himself, Plant, doesn't have that level of power. But he's got the countering ability. Can win him this fight. Oh, it can. Yeah, absolutely can. But he can't get caught. That's nothing. He couldn't get caught. Because if he did, he'd be dangerous. Let me see. They got history. I didn't know they had history. That's news to me. I did not know they had history with each other. Let me see. Moon Man, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today. Fight weekend. Let's go. Mexican Monsters out, and I already see by your own avatar that yeah, you rocking with the Mexican Monster. And look, I agree. I'm with you. And like I said, we're gonna be breaking down this in uber detailed fashion on Thursday. We're getting all our talks now right here out the window. Big time takes, big time opinions. I mean, just belligerent stuff. Get all your stuff out now. If you want to change your mind about who's winning, and if we're overestimating the likes of David Benavidez in his ability to compete against Zoro Ramirez, speak now, forever hold your peace. I want to hear it all. I want to hear everything you all got to say. There's some huge stuff involved. And again, this fight will be a war from 4 in the morning all the way to 12 at night. It's going to be nothing but wars left, right, and center. Blood and guts everywhere. The entirety of the Inoue card is going to Inoue Nakatani card is going to be nothing but wars. The entirety of the Benavidez card, Benavidez versus Hurdo, it's going to be nothing but wars up until the end. You're probably not going to be able to sit down and take a rest for any of these fights because it's going to be nothing short of a one-track mind of pain and action. I'm sorry, I got something in my eye, so I apologize real quick. But it's gonna be nothing but a one-stop shop for pain, blood and guts, and complete and utter violence of the highest of accords. So I can't wait for it, man. And I'm with you. Look, hey, you rock with the Mexican Monster. I fully agree. Shiraz is bigger than Plant. He is bigger than Plant. Absolutely. And also that bigger frame comes with a different dimensions. And as we've seen, better power. So can Caleb Plant bring that into this fight? I'm not sure. At least the power dynamic. We'll find out if that fight ever takes place. Let me see. Moonman, Zerto is susceptible to left hook after throwing jabs. Speed, volume. No, you're right. Now, here's the thing. Even though he's susceptible, I spoke on this before, he's very smooth with how he's able to punch at the cruiserweight landscape. It's not that he's fast, but it's that he flows. That's the thing. It's not a fast-moving cruiserweight, but it's a free-flowing cruiserweight. He watch him fight. Everything with him is nothing is rigid with how he tries to fight and throw. Everything is very sleek, very debonair, to use a frame of adjective. And that's how he lands a lot of his shots. He's able to be so sleek with his work. So that's how a lot of these counters come up. It's how a lot of these punches that all of a sudden, oh man, it didn't look like they have a lot of sting on them, but they rocking the opponent's head. It's because they don't see it coming. He doesn't telegraph a lot of stuff. He's a deceptively good technical fighter. People look at the body as he's elevated up. Because again, he's not a natural cruiserweight. He's elevated up to cruiserweight from lower divisions. But he's now a full-fledged one. But we've seen that work that he was doing at the lighter weight still translate up here. It's a very deceptive type of offensive style that catches opponents by surprise. Not because he's doing anything so, just Matrix-like your Tio or Lomachenko, or you're blitzing somebody with the speed of David Benavidez. Which, again, I'm not taking away the ability. All of it's still there for Benavidez. But it's like you know something's coming and you see it, and all of a sudden it still gets up to you. And it's like, how in the world? There's no way with the speed that this guy throws, I couldn't see this coming. But disguising the work, he's deceptively good at it. But he is susceptible. He can get countered. If you are able to outpace him with speed, oh yeah, you can even though he loves to throw 3-4 punch combinations, especially when he starts getting in his rhythm. But if you're able to go and beat him with your own speed, oh, you can do some real damage. You can't. Now, this is also because there's no disrespect to Zerto, but the cruiserweight division has not been the most talent-filled over the last couple of years. We can say that. This is going to be, I think, Zerto's most, I dare say this might be Zerto's hardest test because of what he's been used to physically at this current landscape of cruiserweight versus what he's going to be getting into. Now, with Benavidez coming up here, that's going to be, it's going to be a rude awakening. It's going to be a rude awakening. For Benavidez, maybe the size rude awakening of Zerto, the frame of Zerto, the durability of Zerto, that could be a rude awakening. But for Zerto, that speed, that's going to be, it's going to shock him. It's going to shock him. It's not because he isn't expecting it, but because he is so used to what the pace of the cruiserweight landscape is right now, with him able to be one of the most active fighters out there. It's not going to be like that with Benavidez. He's going to be the guy that, crazy enough, he's going to dictate the pace. It's insane to say, but he's going to dictate the pace of this fight. He's going to dictate the pace. Just like with, no, I'm going to hold it. I'll say it right now. Just like with Roy Jones Jr. when he fought against John Ruiz. It was Roy who controlled the pace of the fight, even though he was the smaller man. He dictated when engagements were and were not going to happen. He's the one that was responsible for whether or not we were going to see John have a chance to throw, or we gonna sit back and take some time to breathe? He was the man who controlled the lever as to the speed at which this fight's gonna go. When I pick up this fight, that's when this fight starts getting a little more firepower. If I choose to slow it down, you're not touching me. So unless you can operate within my timeline of wanting to go in and work, when I clock in is when work starts. When I clock out, that's when work ends. It ain't the other way around. If you can beat me when I'm on the clock, that's when, okay, you can do some damage. But if you can't, you have no control of what this fight is going to be. That's what we can see Benavidez do to Zurdo Ramirez. Now, he's going to be clocking in the entirety of this affair. But if Zurdo can't clock in and do the same work, he can't dictate the pace. And there's gonna be nothing he can do to deal with it. Especially that speed. I don't think there's gonna be anything he can do if it gets that overwhelming. Let me see. Al Booger, I'm picking Benavidez by decision, possibly UD. Yeah, unanimous decision may be more likely than we may expect. And it's gonna be those late rounds that's gonna really dictate how this fight's gonna go. It's gonna be those late. It's gonna be after round 8 is when we're gonna start seeing it's not just the final chapters, but the real story of this fight, which is the war of attrition, the stamina level. The same concerns that we had with Benavidez against Gvozdyk when he first moved up and he was wheezing, he was breathing heavy, he was still working, still did everything. We could see there was some fatigue dealing with this newfound weight at this level of frame in boxing. And with him against Zurdo, it could be that same thing all over again. New weight, more weight equals a bigger carrying load that you got to go and essentially strap up to your back and carry it throughout 12 rounds. 200 pounds is not just something that is, it's more muscle. It's more weight. It's more, there's more gears you got to go through to be able to get the engine to the same thing. There's more torque you got to apply to get the same level of speed because it's bigger mass. So it's if that starts to wane, like I said, new car, bigger engine, but you can't control it like you need to. It could run into those same situations. And if so, Zurdo could have an advantage late in the fight. We start seeing Benavidez actually get tired. But if not, we can see Benavidez take it. And like I said, unanimous decision. It's a travesty that Benavidez versus Ramirez doesn't seem to be getting that much attention. Well, see, and this is why, and Al Booger, you're right. And this is why this fight is so important. Let me read these other chats, and I'm going to go back, and I'm going to tell you why this fight is so important for Benavidez. Because this can solve that problem of him being overshadowed. It can, but I'm going to tell you what it is after I read these couple chats. Like with Burr. What's going on, Burr? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. We're so happy that you're here with us on today. Please leave a like on the stream if you haven't already. Get the likes up on this show. Keep on subscribing. Keep on joining and keep on being a part of our humble abode on the Welch Report. We would love it if you would join this channel, join the empire, and if you want to give to the show, we got Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, super chat, super gifts, stickers, and the like if you can support the show on your own accord. If you could, mean the world to me, helps me to pay the bills, and also helps me to go through and make this show better for you, the viewers and listeners all across the globe and this nation, wherever you may be. But we appreciate you all being here so much, and keep on chatting your thoughts and opinions. We love this discourse, no question about it. But let me keep on reading these other chats, and then Al Booger, I'm coming back to your chat to respond, to answer your question, or rather give an answer to why this could change a whole bunch of stuff. But let me see, Zurdo a bad man though, 64. No, he is. We're not diminishing Zurdo Ramirez. Again, part of this, actually, I'm gonna save it for when I answer. I'm going to answer all of this when we get back to Al Booger's question. Anyway, versus Nakatani is going to happen while we're sleeping. Whoa. Wait a minute now. I don't know about, Big, I ain't having it. Wait a minute now. That show up ain't having it. Because if you know us, we are watching that fight We watching that live. Hey, I don't know what you talking about. We gonna be up. We gonna be up and at 'em. All up until we what from 2? I told you I'm not going to sleep Friday. I am not going to sleep on Friday. We're gonna be up all day watching Nakatani, watching Takuma Inoue, watching the whole card, and then we're gonna be up at night, all night long, watching that fight as well with Benavidez and Zotto. This is the best pure boxing day we've had all year. I'm telling you, I'm not hyping this up. This is not a joke. This is not something that I'm just trying to get you all excited for no reason. I am promising you there is no better night in this year than this day, May 2nd. Not a soul of a fight is better, more complete, more competitive, more 50-50, and the undercard as well, filled with talent than this right here. If you want to show somebody that what boxing is supposed to be, give them everything that makes this sport great, this is the night to invite somebody out, because there is not going to be a better example of all-around talent, fanfare, aggression, technical ability, and outright drama that can draw somebody in. You will not find it on any other card. It's not going to be Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. It's not going to be Shakur versus Devin Haney. It's going to be May 2nd, and it's going to be Inoue Nakatani and Benavidez Zotto. It's going to be this night that's going to be the best example of the true essence of what boxing is supposed to be in every facet. You're not going to be bored. You're not going to be annoyed with how the judging's going to go, because somebody's going to sleep almost assuredly in every single fight. And you are going to get a definitive answer as to who is truly pound for pound worthy on every single level. There's so much stuff involved in all of these fights, in all of this affair, in all of this action. You don't want to miss it, man. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. If you can, if we don't pay for fights, I would advise you to pay for this one. If you don't pay for fights, this is the one night I'll say, if you can afford it, pay it. If you can't, look for a place to show it. Because you don't want to be in any buffering mode from 4 in the morning to 12 at night. You don't want to be in any situation where something may go awry. You need to be here. You need to watch this fight. I'm telling you, it's going to be worth its weight in gold and some. I promise you that. Oh, man. But I sorry. I didn't mean to go on a tangent of marketing or trying to be a PR man. I ain't paid. Hey, look, if you want to get, if somebody wants to pay me to go and sell a fight for them, I'll do it. They pay me, Zone, you better pay me to go and market this stuff, because I can give you the best stuff out there. I promise you, I guarantee you. But oh man, it's gonna be insane. Let me see. Chon, hold on. We'll watch 2. Yeah, we're gonna be watching. It's more than just 2 good fights. It's gonna be about 5 good fights on the day. It's going to be incredible. I can't wait to see it. Bro chose violence. It's not going to be Shakur versus Haney. Real worse. Yeah, it's not. I mean, be clear. I'm not trying to throw shots. I'm not trying to throw shots at all. This is the most complete night of boxing you can get. The technical side, you're going to, if Shakur and Haney do happen, it'll be a technical, a pugilistic dream. I'm ready for that fight the day it gets announced, if it gets announced. However, I understand, for the whole of the sport, everybody doesn't like that. Be clear. Even with Shakur, after this fight with Tio, and his fight with Josh Padley, and his fight with William Zepeda, people still call him bored. Devin Haney, even after his knockdown against Brian Norman Jr., people are holding, justifiably so, the second half of that fight against him, saying, this brother, you still, even with power, you still ain't trying to use it, and you still fighting so conservatively that it is a bore to watch. That's not me trying to underestimate them or throw shots. That's the public sentiment. It's a damaging thing, but it's a real thing that the public say. They don't want those types of fights to be the thing that, oh, we should really get it when they're excited, but don't get me wrong. But the concern is the concern. Those concerns you don't have to worry about with this fight. if it will be boring, if somebody's willing to get knocked out, if danger is too much of a concern for either of these fighters, because they're going to go and say, I want to knock. In fact, here, let me show you exactly why. I'm still getting to your chat. Be clear, I'm still getting to your chat. I'm not trying to avoid it. We're just flowing right now. I'm not avoiding your conversation. I'm going to get back to your chat because I'm going to answer some questions that your chat gave off. But let me show you exactly what type of mentality we're seeing like the Benavidez bring to this fight, because it's not just a action. It's not just an affair of, oh, we want to win. Like Benavidez, he's approaching this from the manner that I said earlier of respect. Give me 1 second to pull it up, so I can show you the very clip. But the way he's approaching this fight, and the way both of them want to approach this fight, it's all about respect. They want the respect of the boxing globe. They want the fans to be entertained. They want you to walk away from this more than just, hey, this fight was fun. But they want you walking away saying, okay, this is more than just a boxer. This brother is one of the best that we got, period. And they'd be ashamed to miss him. But let me show you this clip of the mentality of David Benavidez. And before I do, let me read this chat real quick. Shakur confirmed it on Twitter. The rumors aren't true. Mike got to stop making things. Trust me. When we get to the championship rounds, we talk about this. Give me about 20 minutes. We're going to be talking about this. We definitely going to be talking about this, because it has not been lost sight that all of this drama with Benavidez, with Shakur and Devin Haney, Zuffa and otherwise, Ring Magazine and everything else. Oh, we're gonna be having a lot of conversation about this, but just give me 30 minutes. Let's talk about the main stuff first, and then we can jump into the other can of worms. That's the other topics on the show. But let me show you what I said I was going to show you, which was the mentality of David Benavidez as he gave off this essentially promo to the likes of Zerto, saying, hey, this ain't just a fight. That's just a fight. This is about respect. And let me just make sure y'all can see it. Yep, y'all can see it. And I'll let it play right here for you all to witness and enjoy. And excuse the language if stuff goes awry. Like I said, viewer discretion is advised, hypothetically. Trying to be sponsor friendly. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. All that stuff. Hey, somebody pay me.
Every decision I'm trying to make, I'm trying to put you to sleep. So that's what makes it fun for me. So it's high risk, high reward. Some of the fighters, low risk, low reward. That means that it'd be a good defensive show, but at the end of the day, you're trying to sell tickets to a fight. So people, they see that, they like that. So what fighter do you want to be? It's really open to you to be whatever fighter it is. You want to be a fucking warrior, you be a warrior. You want to be a fucking pussy, you'll be a fucking pussy. You won't get respected. At the end of the day, this is what we all do for respect. Sometimes respect is worth more than the money and all that stuff. By the time my shit done, everybody gonna respect me. Generations and generations and generations gonna respect me. Respect my kids, respect my family. And we're not gonna do it easy. It's not gonna be easy. We're gonna go out there, we're gonna take it.
That is special. That's not just a great promo. Be clear. WWE, this was in that, but WrestleMania selling out. That's perfect. But as a mantra of what drives him, as we were going to touch on earlier in the show, this is that this fight, and this goes back to Al Buga's conversation, and we're going to get, it's important to talk about. This right here is exactly why this fight with Zerto was so important. Because, like, hey, Jones said it even still. Doesn't feel like there's much hype. And Al Buga was saying it also, saying that it's a travesty that it doesn't seem to get that much attention. Well, it's because, to some degree, there is a lack of respect. Now, we're not saying Benavidez ain't respected. But look at where we see Shakur. Look at how we're talking about Shakur. Look at how we're talking about Inoue. Look at how we talked about Canelo in the past. Usyk right now. Terrence Crawford before he retired. You see that line of demarcation? Even Devin Haney right now. You see that line of demarcation? Yeah, they sell. Yeah, they're hyped up and all this stuff. But the respect that gets talked about with them is incredible. Benavidez gets the respect. This was a monster. He's a dog. He's all these things wrapped into one. But he in himself hasn't felt he's gotten to that pillar that he deserves to be at. And the fight with Zurdo and Benavidez doesn't feel that level of hype. He is fighting still under the shadow of the rest of the stars in the boxing world. And all of this is because, we've said it before, the brother has been ducked. He's been ducked. There's been a number of years that this man has been ducked by competition. He's been ducked by the personnel that has been in front of him. This is not me trying to blow smoke. This is for real. He's been ducked. We tracked it. We've seen it. We've talked against it. And all of them still got that moment. Devin Haney, Lomachenko, he got that. Shakur Teo, he got that. Crawford, Canelo, Crawford or Spence, he got that. Inoue, Nakatani. Before that, Inoue, Nonito Donaire, he got that. We've seen the respect of the public drive some of the biggest stars to be where they are. And right now, Zurdo and Benavidez is a great fight, but it doesn't have the same respect of the public, casual and hardcore. And to be honest, it's because, and I hate that I'm saying this, but I'm again speculating based on what I'm seeing. Benavidez doesn't have that superstar level respect, even though he's a superstar. And he's still not big enough to garner that without another toe-to-toe level superstar in front of him. And again, robbed of that opportunity. If he had gotten that before this fight would have been talked about on the same level as we see with other fighters, because the historic implications are there. The Mexican versus Mexican all out war is there. He's fighting on Cinco de Mayo when Canelo was not. He took over the very weekend that is known for Canelo. That's there. Everything that he needs to have is there, except for the other tag team partner to dance with that has the notion of similar or greater appeal. People don't know Zurdo. Zurdo's a phenomenal fighter. Zurdo fought Bivol. People don't care because people don't know him. They know Benavidez, but again, Tyson Fury just got announced versus Anthony Joshua. Canelo's coming back. We're going to talk about it later on in the show. Tank just got rumored to be fighting Floyd Schofield. All of a sudden, Ryan Garcia is still Devin Haney, Conor Ben. What the world's going to happen? A lot of the big names that have that superstar respect and notoriety are all doing stuff all at the same time. Not to mention, anyway, Nakatani, the fight that has been the fight for 5 years is now happening 4 days from now on the same day in the morning. So it's like everything is kind of snowball. Shoot, Benavidez was headlining the fight with Yard versus, what's the headliner for Yard versus Benavidez? He was the main event. And the majority of people were clamoring to see Shakur versus William Cepeda. Because I believe they were on that card. I believe, in fact, let me fact check that to make, let me fact check that to make sure. Let me fact check, hold on. Was it Shakur versus Haney or was it David Benavidez versus, Who was the undercard for Benavidez versus Yard? Let me look at it. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me fact check. Hold on. We fact checking. Hold on. Before I speak out of my mouth, let me make sure that I had that correct. Okay, excuse me. Not Shakur versus Yard. Excuse me, not Shakur versus Zepeda. Haney versus Norman. That was not, yeah, it wasn't Shakur. I apologize. Haney versus Norman was the undercard for Benavidez versus Yard. And that fight had more people discussing what's going to happen, the implications. Devin Haney still couldn't headline the event, but he was definitely the one that was taking advantage of all of the drama. We even said it when we were watching on the live stream. This is the most anticipated fight on the entirety of the card, strictly because of how it had been blown up and discussed, the build-up and all the questions about Devin Haney and Brian Norman that made this feel, oh shoot. But it's because Devin Haney was involved in it. It's, as much as people may not want to agree with it, because Devin Haney was involved in that fight. At the status that he was at and is at, dominate the headlines even though he wasn't the guy, the headline. But again, he got that moment to put him in that shine. Benavidez, this could be that moment that finally gets him that shine. Because Zerto is in the position that Bivol was in, that Canelo was in, and that other elite fighters that didn't want to fight him were in. He is tied for the guy or the guy. And if we hear that Benavidez beat the unified cruiserweight champion of the world, dare I say by knockout, that will perk up a whole lot of people, because they may not know the name, but when you accomplish something like that, all of a sudden you start to grab the attention of even casual people saying, hey man, wait a minute. Maybe you by yourself can be a man that can saturate this level of populace, or saturate our imagination when it comes to bringing you up every time we talk about boxing. But it's because he hasn't had that one guy. If he gets that one guy, it will make him into those same level of stars. Because as a talent, he's a superstar, the 5th best fighter in the world. He can get the 4th if he beats Zerto in a dramatic fashion. That's not disrespect to Shakur, who I got currently as the 4th. That's because it'll be that incredible. We were saying it was preposterous to get up that high in the first place when this fight first got brought up. If he does accomplish this, but it's one of the greatest feats that we have in this year in boxing, over the last 5 years in boxing. If he does that. But it's the current landscape, he doesn't have that other drawing power star across from him. But I think if he beat Zerto, because Zerto is currently seen as one of the 2 guys, to say that I knocked out or I beat definitively the cruiserweight champion of the world, same division that Evander Holyfield won undisputed titles in, same division Usyk won before he came up to heavyweight and ran amok, that the accomplishment afterwards changes the perception. And now the next fight that you get most likely will be not just a big time affair with the big name, but you are the man that has the spotlight definitively in your control. Because now people will start paying attention, because this brother is a killer where he shouldn't have been a killer. And we gotta, hey now, hold up a second. But it's a problem on a grander scale than he already is. But I think that's why that other dance part he hasn't gotten fairly or unfairly. He hasn't gotten that yet to give him the chance to make himself as big of those names, like the Shakurs, like the Haneys, like the Inoue, like the Canelos, like the Anthony Joshuas, like the Tyson Furies. The fight that would have saturated everything would have been Canelo. If he had gotten that fight by now, this fight would have been an even bigger situation. Notice, when Canelo fought Sergey Kovalev and owed Sergey Kovalev for the title, it was a huge deal. I was setting aside time in college on my phone while watching the movie with class the next day to make sure I saw that fight. Good friend Jesse, hey, if you ever see this, Jesse, hey brother, how you doing? Hopefully you're doing well. I was watching Godzilla with you. I was also watching Canelo fight against Kovalev at the same time. Because after Golovkin, what happened? He was already a huge star, but he took off even more. And now every fight that he was in, he dominated the market. Canelo is fighting. See what I'm saying? Benavidez hasn't reached that level where Benavidez is fighting. He should be there. Be clear, he should be there. He should be there today. But he's not. Because the opportunity to get that brass ring was ripped away from him. Because the torch never got to get passed because the guy that should have been the man to beat didn't give him a chance to beat him. Zurdo can be that guy. And after Zurdo, now, any fight he gets in, Jayapatai or otherwise, Bivol or otherwise, one, is going to be guaranteed to be one of those two names. But two, he carries the spotlight. Because while the current fight may not be as enthralling from one standpoint of it's saturated by all the other stuff happening. If he comes out the other side successful, the shine on his name with that accolade behind his back, that should be the thing to translate. Because people may not pay attention to the fighter, but they pay attention to his weight. What do you mean he beat a cruiserweight? He was 168 last time I heard of him. What do you mean he beat arguably the best brother at 2 weight classes above his normal one? He went where Canelo couldn't even sniff, and he beat the brother that was the only other good champion there. And now arguably he's the best at 175. He's the best at cruiserweight, 200 pounds. And if he went back down to 168, he'd be the best 168 pounder arguably if he went to that division. What do you mean this man exists? You see what I'm saying? Capture the imagination. So that's why this fight's so important. That's why this fight's so important. So it may not be big now, but what comes after this, it's going to be something to behold, man. It's going to be something to behold. It's the aftermath. It's going to be the thing that really takes this thing to the limit. And it's going to be that aftermath that really shakes everything up. Let me see. Latinos know Zurdo. Majority knows Benavidez. Yeah, that's true. Again, Zurdo is a very, I don't want to say finite, but a very niche, and it sounds mean. I'm strictly saying this from the perspective of the boxing fan. It's a niche fighter who's an incredible talent. But again, cruiserweight didn't have a whole bunch of names. If cruiserweight was built like heavyweight, this would be a whole much bigger deal. If cruiserweight was built like 154, this would be a huge sentiment. Zayas isn't even the best brother at 154, and that fight's already being looked at as that's going to be one of the more premier events to be a part of and to keep track of. And that's not even Virgil Ortiz. And people are still saying, hey man, that fight, we got to pay attention to this. Because the division, the fighter, and the main event upset fight all line up. Okay, it's got 3 levels of notoriety. Boots, 154, Zayas. Those 3 equate to an immense level of popularity. Cruiserweight, Zerto Benavidez is popular, but it ain't that, only because the cruiserweight is the weak link. The notoriety of this division is not cared about for a lot of people unless a big name gets up there. Now, if a big name gets up there and does something great, that name becomes insane. If Zerto beats Benavidez, Zerto gonna have a whole new fan base that he never had before. I guarantee you that. If Zerto beats Benavidez, all of a sudden, brother, we got a new star. Wait a minute. Wait a second. Now that fight with Jai Pataka becomes even more prevalent. Becomes even more dangerous. Becomes even more wanted by the public. It does. But if Benavidez beats Zerto, similar to Inoue and Nakatani, if the man with the spotlight makes his spotlight bigger with this win, all of a sudden, he doesn't just unlock more fans, but the respect that he's looking for, it clicks. That's what, again, it all revolves around the same thing. Perspective and respect. People don't respect the cruiserweight division because they don't know. They respect the Zerto, but they don't know. But if you combine Zerto's talent and the accolade with Benavidez's already established respect, this can be a cacophony of, we may not care as much in the buildup, but the aftermath can lead to the very thing we've been asking for. Make Benavidez one of the 3 or 4 biggest names that this sport has ever seen in this current generation, because he's worth everything in gold. Absolutely. Let me see. Also, we got our Truth. Truth, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today. We're so happy that you're here joining in on our live stream with us today. We appreciate you. Also, we get ready to transition over into the world of the championship rounds right here, right now, because we're right at the 2-hour mark. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to work. It's time to shine, and it's time to let your voice be heard. You all control the rest of the show for the last 30 minutes to an hour. So let's get it pumping. Let's get it running. Let's get ourselves ready. It's time to jump in to the last half of the show, and it's time for the championship round. Yes, sir. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it popping. Let's get it started. Yeah, buddy. Oh yeah, buddy. Oh yeah, I can't wait to see it. Let me see. Burr, Jai ruined his career. That's crazy. And look, I'm not gonna say he ruined his career, but I'm going to say he made a mistake. Because now he doesn't have a belt. And the very thing that made him necessary for a lot of other fighters didn't want to fight him was because he was the only other person that had a championship in this division. But now, without that, that brother can be skirted by people who don't want none of that smoke, even though he's still a big name. And getting back into fighting for a title against somebody else, guess what? It's going to be a whole lot harder. Not just because he's a huge threat, but also because the belts and other promotions who have champions under their regime, like Zerto and otherwise, don't want to fight Jai Appetit. Because you're attached to Zuffa and you are not one of us. It's a shame. It's a dirty shame. But it's the fact of the matter. At this point in time, it's not fair to him. He was just trying to get the way to get all the belts, but he might have ruined his position. He's still the Ring Magazine champ. He still is the arguably 1A, 1B of the men to beat. He holds weight in this division. The belt that goes back to the first dude. He's the lineal champion, all that stuff. We love that. But what he earned got stripped away. And now I don't want him to be forgotten. He won't be, especially with this fight, Benavidez Zerto. They're probably going to be calling for one of them to fight Jai after this, but it's going to be a whole lot harder because of the negotiating practice. And the business, he put himself in a bad position with the business side of boxing. I think that's the best way to put it. He put himself in a bad position with the business side of boxing. If he didn't put himself in this position on the business end, the fighting end would have been a whole lot easier to manage. But he set himself up unwillingly with the transitional period of the early days of Zuffa. You took a chance. I respect it, but now you got to fight in the mud that Zuffa's trying to fight out of now. And that can hinder your ability. It's a shame, but it's just what's going on right now. So I don't like it. Be clear. I'm upset that it's happening. But be sure you understand that. But this was one of the pitfalls. It was one of the concerns, one of the dangers, sadly, of at this point in time signing with Zuffa early on. You can run into Richardson Hitchens is also running into this. Edgar Berlanga, if he ever gets a shot at a title, can run into this. So it's a slippery slope. And we don't like it, but it's a slippery slope that can only get more and more volatile, dangerous, slippery, to say the least. But let me keep on reading your chats. The ring belt is different. That's a belt that's handed to you. Chosen Benavidez can fight for undisputed and leave that belt behind. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought that the Ring Magazine belt and the Lineal Championship were one and the same. So the lineal champion, the man who beat the man, going back to all the former years of history, that belt or that title is represented by the Ring Magazine belt. If you carry the red, white, and blue belt, you carry the division's lineage on your back, as we can trace you back to the first champion of this division, when it was one belt per division and all that stuff. I thought that's what the Ring Magazine belt represented. So the lineal champion and ring champion were both one and the same. If the lineage got broken, like somebody retired, like Terrence Crawford, and somebody won the championship at 168 after him, then the lineage, though broken, would go back up and say, okay, the belt went vacant, we had a shuffle, and you won the titles, so now you get this, you continue the lineage now as the rightful owner. I thought that's how it worked. If I'm wrong, please enlighten me, correct me. Let me see exactly what's going down so I can be sure I'm on the up and up for the public to see and to witness. So I can make sure I'm correct in the situation. Let me see. The Ring is a bit compromised, in my opinion, due to their connection with Zuffa, who's the same organization. Okay. So that brings us, now again, we do want to make sure we talk about a couple of things in the boxing landscape, like with Tank Schofield and a couple of the fights as well. But that has been a concern that I've heard but I've overlooked, because Zuffa, also, real quick, please leave a like on the stream if you like what we got going on. Please. I forgot, shameless plug. Keep on liking the stream, keep on sharing the show, and keep on subscribing and joining the empire if you have not already. But back to the question at hand. The ring belt, even though it was tied to the current regime of Turki Al-Sheikh and the new management of the Ring Magazine, I thought it still held integrity, because at this point, it looked like it still was what it was. There were people even before they came in saying, hey, if you hold the Ring Magazine belt, all these other belts don't mean a whole bunch in the grand scheme, because that's the guy that truly rules or holds the history of this division on his back. Teofimo Lopez was saying that when he was when he beat Lomachenko, and when he was subsequently ruling at 135 and then moved up to 140 and got the ring belt again. So for years it had been like that. So I thought it always had weight separate from what regime takes it. And at this point in time, mind you, I'm not paid by nobody. I didn't give no money for nobody. If the Ring magazine was sponsoring me, I would have said this exact same thing. It looked like that belt, regardless of who held it, was moving and is still moving like it's supposed to. Where, regardless of what the other belts may hold, if you hold that belt, you have a level of weight to it. Or you got some respect that you deserve, because this is 100+ years of history. Not just the magazine, but as the fighters holding this belt, it's one of the most coveted things you can achieve, to my knowledge. But again, if I'm wrong, please enlighten me so I can make sure I'm looking this up in the right vein. I'm confused. Why didn't Zerto ever try to fight Jai the last 2 years? Well, see, that's another question, because Jai has been saying and calling him out after every fight, especially the last 4 ones. But Zerto, it seems like he doesn't want to fight him. Now, I'm not one to say that he is. No. I'll say it. It looked like Zerto was avoiding Jai Apatai, even though Jai Apatai and Zerto were on a collision course, and every time out, Jai was saying, I want you next. Let's get the contract signed. So, at this point, it seems like Zerto doesn't want a part of Jai Apatai, from the timeline I've been able to follow, because I thought they would have already fought each other. It still is 1A, 1B, who's the best in the division. But that fight should have happened, 2 years ago. That fight should have happened this year. That fight should have happened late last year. Why it didn't, I'm before Zuffa, that fight should have happened. So I don't get it. I've been asking that question a bunch myself, I'm not going to lie. And why not Benavidez? And why Benavidez not saying his name? Well, Benavidez is not saying, Benavidez is different. Benavidez isn't saying Jai Apatai outright, only because he's worried about the task at hand. He said that himself. He has already stated, though, I'll fight Jai Apatai. If that fight comes up to fruition, I'll fight him. He's already said, I'll do it. He just said his goal is either move up to heavyweight after I beat Zerto, or get my fight with Bivol that I should have gotten when I earned my shot at the title. Because if I beat Bivol for him, that's the superstar making fight that he was like, I got ducked by Canelo. I'm not getting ducked by this brother who I was in a position again to get a shot at the baddest man there. And he wants to fight Artur Beterbiev. So he wants to get his business done where he should have gotten his business done at light heavyweight, if he can do it. But if not, he's already stated, I'll fight Jai Apatai. He has stated that. So that's why Benavidez, I'm not calling that a duck, because he's already fighting the man who holds most of the belts. And so, like, okay, you're fighting. It's either this champion, that champion. This champion signed with me. Okay, we're making the fight. I just want the smoke. The smoke is here. Let's do it. But he's out of order. Now, afterwards, if we see stuff change and he starts changing his tune about his willingness to fight Jai Apatai, okay, we can have a different conversation. But at this point in time, for him, everything's on the up and up. Zerto's been in position to fight Jai for not just 2 years, over 2 years. And he hasn't even tried, seemingly, to take advantage of making this stuff actually take place. So that's where, okay, we got a problem now. In that vein, from my perspective, watching the timeline of all this stuff unfold. Let me see. That's the thing. What Jai is. That's the thing. What competition is Jai going to fight that's going to make the ring, that's going to take the ring belt, forget the Zuffa belt? Let me see. That's the thing. What competition is Jai going to fight that's going to take that ring belt, forget the Zuffa belt? Well, at this point in time, like I said before, all of that is muddied, because who wants to work with Jai Apatai and Zuffa? He was already a scary fighter, and now promotions don't really want to work with Dana White. and give them the respect of, I'll put one of my titles on the line against you. So it's a danger. Now, if Zerto, now I believe currently right now, Ja's holding the Ring Magazine belt. I believe. If I'm wrong, correct me, but I believe he's holding the belt. So he holds the lineage at this point in time. But even still, getting people to fight him because you're with the enemy, it's gonna be tough. I would say, yeah, forget the super belt, because at this point in time, it's not getting you anywhere. But it's a. There are people that can speak on this better than me, but the business side of it all, it's convoluted, and that's the that's the danger of it. Even if it's as a news source, even if it is a news source has become a joke belt, it's still a belt. Now I'll push back on that a little bit. I think the belt itself still carries a lot of weight, adjacent from what people may feel about what the ring is doing right now. I think it does. Now, good or bad, I believe. Now, again, I can look more into the public sentiment, look at how fighters feel about it. But I think because of the history of the belt, even before what we see right now with the ring, whether you like what they're doing or not, I think it is holding its own standard at this point in time. Now, again, we've seen stuff ruined before. It can happen also. But I don't think we're at that bridge yet. I think it still holds that prestige, I believe. It still has that. I don't think it's lost that. Though the people who control the belt, yeah, a little bit of a problem for some people. I understand. I'm not gonna fight it. I understand the feeling. You hear Max Kellerman, how he talks about all the other champions in boxing from the reference of him saying that the Ring Magazine is the only one that matters. Now he has said that for years. I was with him even before, or I was seeing him even before ESPN. He was saying that, but still making it seem like the other belts don't have or should not have a level of weight. Even with the balancing act of saying we only want one champion, has kind of, and to some degree, the shilling of him talking about other boxers that shouldn't really be talked about in the same grandiose sense, like Edgar Berlanga signing with Zuffa, blowing that up like a signing that was, oh my gosh, which it's a good signing, but ain't nothing that was, hey, them 16 knockouts ain't carrying that brother to a respectable name at this point in time. But he's trying to make it seem like that. So people don't like that. There's a little bit of a seemingly compromised talking point, a propaganda that isn't rooted in legitimacy of fact of what's going on or what is or isn't going down in boxing to some degree. I understand. I do get it. But in the whole, I think the belt itself holds its own weight. Let me see. Johnny Blaze, how you doing? Good to see you. Let me see what you have to say on the day. Zerto fought champion Mando. Now Benavidez. How is he ducking John? No, I'm not. Let me rephrase that. He fought Mando, and he's fought other great fighters. He's already separated himself like he should have from the rest of the cruiserweight division. I believe the ducking sentiment comes through when you look at the rest of, or when you look at the gap in separation. And it's like, okay, now with all that other stuff done, with all due respect to Benavidez, that fight should have been either before or after Mando. And if it was after Mando, when everything had settled, okay, would have loved it. But it seemed like, again, this is the importance of Jai applying the pressure every time in press conferences, or after every fight, traveling the airways. Everybody was hearing Jai say, "Give me him, give me him." I respect my opponent, but this ain't the guy I want to fight. Give me Zerto. And Zerto not putting his own stuff out afterwards made the public see that one person wants and one person doesn't. And now that's the story. And until that fight happens, people are gonna keep on holding that very sentiment. And whether you think it's correct or not, that's the art of media at this point. If it sticks, once it sticks, it's hard to shake off or even argue against for a lot of people because they're like, he kept saying his name and you didn't say anything. It's been 3 fights now. He's called you out, and you haven't said or done anything to lead yourself towards him. Oh my gosh! Now this brother may not want to smoke, overlooking what he's done because of the dude everybody wants to see. You ain't shaking, or you ain't trying to shake down and take his stuff. So that's kind of where he's at right now. But let me keep on reading. What y'all got to say? No, the ring belt and lineal champions are okay. Thank you. So the ring belt and lineal champions, they are not synonymous. Okay, thank you for that correction. I apologize if I was steering you wrong. That's how I understood it, but that's not the case. I do apologize. Because he did the situation kind of like with Mike Tyson. I thought Mike Tyson won the Ring Magazine belt and the lineal title against Michael Spinks after he'd already gotten all the other belts. And I thought, okay, boom, they're one and the same. And from then on, I just kept on going with it. So I do apologize on that matter. Thank you for correcting me on said information. Let me see. The Ring is the man who beat the man, as far as I know. Again, that's what I thought, but apparently that's not the case. Like I said, I'm all for looking this stuff up after the show because I do want to make sure we keep the stuff going. But if it's not the case, then shoot. It is what it is. We're gonna make sure we get this story straight. Let me see. Jai is the most avoided guy, even with Matchroom. Nobody wanted to smoke. That's the reason which pushed him to Zuffa. Yeah, to some degree, yeah, because he thought that was gonna be the quickest way to get himself the undisputed title opportunity he deserved. But now, it kind of backfired. Not kind of, it has really backfired. Let me see. I'm trying to make sure I catch I don't want to say most important, but some of the most prevalent stuff that we can. We do want to make sure we get some stuff like with Tank Schofield and a couple other things around the boxing world that we do want to discuss. Let me see. He could have put it by fighting Benavidez before signing with Zuffa. Not saying it's his fault, but he should have known the Zuffa belt had no meaning. I don't think it was the Zuffa belt that allured him to get this fight. I think that he felt Zuffa, Dana White, would be the quickest way to get the fight with Zerto because of what was backed by the ring. I think he thought he was making the best career decision to get him the fight that he wanted. Not to avoid competition. He could care less about the Zuffa belt. I guarantee you. He could care less about that big silver belt. He just wanted the undisputed title. He's been moving like that for years. He wants and only desired that undisputed championship. If he could get that as quick as possible, he was either sold the idea or thought, okay, this is the best way to make it so that title can become mine. But like we see now, stuff backfire. Stuff ain't the same. Stuff is not panning out. And it's not his fault. It's just like the sadly, like he said, the fighters are the ones that suffer with all this stuff. And he suffered because he just made the wrong decision. Seemingly right now he's made the wrong decision. Now if it pans out, great. Cool. But right now there's a hill to climb. There really is a hill that's got to climb. At least in my estimation. Let me go. I want to make sure. I'm trying to make sure I catch. Let me see. You searched. Okay. Well, actually, hold on. That's actually a good point. With the ring stuff, I can search that up real quick. We can search it up and make sure we got the ring. Is the ring belt and lineal title the same The same thing in boxing. Okay. All right. So it's not. Okay. Lineal champ, man who beat the man. Direct unbroken lineage from the first champion. And then the ring belt. Physical belt awarded by publication on merit, usually number one contender or champion who beats a top contender. Generally, that's the difference. Now, in that same vein, normally, the lineal champion holds the Ring Magazine belt. So, they're not the same. But almost every time, whoever holds the ring belt is also the lineal champion. To my understanding, reading said information. They are not the same thing, but almost every time they are intertwined with each other. That if you're the ring champion, almost every time you are also the lineal champion. So most of the time when you hold that red, white, and blue belt up, you are also holding up the title of the lineal champ, because most people will have or are given that ring belt, get it as the lineal champion. If I'm reading this correct, that's what goes down. They're not the same. They are separate, but most of the time, the winner of the ring is also either gaining and or defending said lineal title of the man who beat the man. Which is why, generally, that gets, okay, they're one and the same. Hopefully that makes sense of the explanation as to what each belt or what each title represents and how they're both separate, but generally they are intertwined for the vast majority of the history in the sport. Does that make sense? So we can have as much clear clarification. I hope that does. I'm trying. That's as concrete as I can make it out to be. Hopefully I'm teaching you all right. I hope I am. I really am trying to make sure everything's up on the up and up. But either way, let me real quick keep on reading. What you all got to say? Josh still has time to save his career. We'll see what comes next for him. We will. Like I said, he's still just is about to smoke. So we're gonna find out what happens and be on the lookout for this fight with Benavidez. But before we switch to the next topic, that's the biggest thing. Before we switch to the next topic, Zurdo Benavidez is going to be one of the biggest implications of what happens with Jai's career next. Most likely. Where it can go, we don't know. But I promise you, that's going to be a huge factor. It's going to be a mega factor. Because right now, whoever wins that fight, they're going to be asked about Jai first and foremost. And I guarantee you, Zuffa's going to try to make a big push to get one of them to sign with Jai Patel on a fight on Zuffa grounds. And then we're going to probably see the snowball of, okay, this is the chance for Zuffa to really make something shake. Can they close it? Or is it going to be, we're not working with that side of the street type situation? We're going to find out. But it's going to be a big implication. It seems like it's going to be a big implication. Let me see. I think the lineage gets broken at some point. But Jai is the man who beat the man. It can get broken. And I think it has been broken. And then through whoever becomes undisputed or majority belt holder, they get the title put back on them. Generally, it's if the lineage gets broken, whoever becomes the undisputed champ, they become the next lineal champion. Most of the time, if I understand correctly, if the lineage gets, like somebody quits, somebody retires, and now boom, they're gone. And they never come back. Okay, boom, now you get that next, you are the next person because you got everything. And now you are the rightful descendant to hold this title again. If I have that correct. Let me see. That's upsetting. John's going to have to be fighting on Pro Box Fighters instead of competition unless they sign someone fight. I mean, hey, Pro Box, they can fight now. Hey, Pro Box, they be throwing down. All right, I mean, hey, look, they be throwing down on Pro Box. I'm not going to lie. He fights a fighter from Pro Box. That probably, you'll be surprised. That ain't bad comp. They get somebody from over there. That ain't bad comp at all. That ain't bad comp at all. Like Chris Bellum Smith. That's also they did sign 2 other cruiserweights, and Chris Bellum Smith. That's a fight that we've been saying that would be a good action fight for Ja if it went down. If it did go down, that would be a good one. Will it happen? We'll find out. But that would be in-house. That's not a bad fight. It's just the big kahuna of the fights that we want is going to be the struggle. But that fight, yeah, that ain't bad. That ain't bad. That ain't bad at all. But again, the thing for Jai is he wants the biggest, not just some of the best. He wants the best. And that's where stuff can get hurt for him. But either way, hold on. Before we continue this conversation, we want to make sure we keep stuff going because we are at 2 hours, 27 minutes. We're going to go a little bit over. But we're not going to go 3 hours. So we want to make sure we catch all the other stuff in the realm of boxing thus far. Like with some rumors involving the world of the
Every decision I'm trying to make.
Wait a minute. Benavidez, slow down now. Hold on, Benavidez. We don't need you saying your spiel again. I know you're eager to fight, but we don't need you doing that right now. we still got to show that we got to do. And the other biggest sentiment that can take place is Tank versus Floyd Schofield. If you did not know, it looks to be that fight potentially is going to be going down. And if you don't believe me, let me show you as we transition over into picture, as you can see right here on the side of my screen. It seems like this is what's going down. Tank, Kid Austin, Floyd Schofield, as you can see, as Schofield made a tweet over the course of yesterday morning. Maybe fighting Tank in July or August. God is good. And also not just with the evidence shown in his tweet, but some stuff. And again, I don't like the brother. As a pundit, he's had some stuff going on. A lot of stuff going on. But apparently, Schofield went on an interview with Southpaw TV. Oh, wrong button. Oh, my.
Hey, look at this. We got some problems here.
Oh, my.
We got some problems here.
But even still. Okay, just jokes. All respect to all the other boxing content creators out there. Now, granted, Pro Box or Southpaw, he's had some more issues that I strongly disagree with. But either way, he got the interview. And essentially, Floyd Schofield and his dad said the sentiment, said, yeah, this is going down. I'll let him tell you exactly how this looks like it's real.
I seen a tweet from y'all. It said, you in line to fight Gervonta Davis next?
Yeah, pretty much.
Real fast, I want to say what's up because I got some work to do. Yeah, here in line. I put the petition in with the WBA. Everything else got the lawyers involved, so now they're about to sanction it. And right now, they're in talks to put this fight on in July. But I'll leave y'all two to it. But that's what's happening now. It's really going to be official, the Tank versus Kid fight.
I seen a tweet from...
Hold on. So hey, look, there we go. We've been speculating who the next comeback fight for Tank could be. Now, we heard it was going to be the likes of Eastside Cruz getting the rematch of one of the two fights that we've been begging to see Tank in once again, him versus Eastside or him versus Lamont Roach. And he was saying, or rather, we were hearing the likes of Calvin Ford saying there was a fight that was getting made that was going to be right under a lot of people's noses. And if this is true, this seems to be the fight that he was discussing. Now, everything's said and nothing is set in stone. Be clear, it's speculation. It's speculation. I'm telling you right now, it's speculation. Nothing is confirmed. So don't be shooting the messenger. Just trying to give you the evidence that we got. Please. But this right here is the potential next fight. And this is good. I'm not going to lie. This is good because we have been saying of all the people at this division of 135, if Tank ain't moving up to 140, he better handle all the business that now is apparent at this lower weight class of division, where he said he's normally comfortable at. Abdullah Mason, Floyd Schofield, formerly Shakur Stevenson, who was down there, but you got some names, real names. Raymond Murataya, Andy Cruz, all these names are there. And we want to see you get in the smoke with them if possible. And so you're getting Schofield. You can say that he's better than Schofield. He is. No, that's a given. Yeah, most likely we will see Schofield get knocked out. But it is the prospect of talent that now fits into the bill. Yeah, this is a fight that we are on the up and up with, that you should be taking, especially now that he's directly in the championship positions of power, with you still being champion in recess at 135 pounds. And so we want to see that. We desire to see that. We need to see that take place. So hopefully now we'll get it. And I do think that we will. But let me see. We have, oh, good gosh, Lord, we got people in the chat saying, hey, Al Booger, you saying, man, I don't believe a word out of Kid Austin, and especially his daddy. I believe it when the official fight, when the official fight gets announced, with the date and arena announced. I get you, hey man. Look, I'm with you. There's a lot of concern. There's a whole lot of skepticism. There's a whole bunch of skepticism. I'm not fighting with you at all on that front because, yeah, you doggone right. We don't know. You are absolutely right. We don't know. It could all be fraudulent. Everything could be out the pasture. That all this stuff with Tank and Schofield could be blown up in smoke. Nothing's real. But if it is, then it could be a viable situation. You know, let me tell you this right now. If this is the case, I promise you, we ain't gonna see Schofield get sick for nothing that happens here. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that. All this sickness stuff that we've been seeing happen to him, for this type of money, if it comes through, he ain't getting sick with this fight. That brother's gonna be in a bubble in training camp, doing pad works in the inside of a hamster wheel to make sure he's ready for this fight. Because every other fight we've seen this brother on death's door, somehow, some way. When a big fight seems like it's gonna be at his doorstep, I would hope and pray that nothing happens to him this time. And if so, if it's real, and this fight doesn't get agreed to, I mean, this man is in a secluded island, and with sanitation everywhere. I'm talking about literally fighting in the vacuum to make sure nothing gets in the way of this fight. Again, we make jokes, but genuinely we hope he's okay, and nothing does indeed transpire. But one of the biggest concerns, every single time something comes up, something goes down with Floyd Schofield. So we just hope and pray that if this is real, nothing actually goes awry this time around. Let me see. Floyd Schofield Sr. Talking, out of the side of his mouth again. He may be. Now, he's talked about a bunch of other situations before. We've known that he's one of the people that, hey, there's a whole, some stuff, take it with the grain of salt. A lot of stuff, take it with the grain of salt. I get it. I am not trying to alleviate that this is going down. I'm also hoping that it's true. I am, because I want to see this type of competition to have Schofield go up against. I want to see it. I want to see Tank fight one of the 10 to 5 best fighters at 135. I want to see it. Because this road can lead to Abdullah Mason. Hey, Abdullah versus Tank at 135. Wouldn't that be a great fight to have? Similar to Xander Zayed versus Boots Ennis. But in this situation, hey, it's a fight that needs to happen on both accounts. I would love to see that. This could lead to Raymond Murataya. Though he's calling out Shakur Stevenson, this could lead to him fighting against Tank for the WBA title. I think for a unified title, because they both got belts. I would love to see that. Any fight at this point in time that Tank leads into a potential bigger opportunity for a fight that we've always wanted to see, or a fight that we've been asking for a hot minute. That's where we're at. That's what we are hoping we see take place. That's the prayer. Especially since Tank should have been stripped already of a title because he wasn't actively defending it. He, at this point, should not be a champion, but he is. So he's holding the division hostage. So I want anybody to get a shot at the belt at this point. I want anybody to get a shot at the title at this point in time, Schofield or otherwise, because we need to see some movement with him as a champion, at least for me, at least to me. And if we see it, perfect, great. But if we don't, it's just going to lead to another sentiment. Well, where's Tank? Well, what's going to happen? Well, this brother, he can do whatever he wants. I don't want to hear that anymore. I want to see him do work. And this is it. I don't care what work it is at this point, especially if it's work that we deem worthy. This is it. At least for me. Let me say, Kid Austin is a body emoji. Kid Austin seems to be trash. I don't care if you think that Kid Austin is not on the level of Tank. Kid Austin is one of the 5 top-ranked fighters on multiple sanctioning bodies right now, including Tank's WBA title, which at this point in time, I believe he is the #1 contender. So, this is a earned and deserved opportunity, especially after his win against Tevin Farmer, which, again, was a while ago. And it should have been that he was fighting against Shakur Stevenson. And then with that fight afterwards, we could have gotten Shakur versus Tank at 135. But again, life happens. Either way, I'll need to see this fight because it's at least it's something. It's something. I don't care how you feel about Tank. And trust me, I got a bunch of feelings about Tank Davis. I don't care how you feel about Floyd Schofield. And there's a lot to feel about Floyd Schofield and his dad. But we just need some movement. And now we're getting it right now. Let me see. Yeah, but he's been out for how long? He's depending on Tank when he can build up his name. Now that's a good point. That's a good point. Schofield's last fight was against Tevin Farmer. Let me see. Schofield versus Farmer. That was it? We're in April, May, June. So we're coming up on 2 months before we're coming up on, excuse me, let me rephrase it. We are coming up on almost a year of Schofield not being in the ring. As you can see, 8 months is currently where we're at right now. By June, it's going to be a whole 365 days since we've seen him in boxing. With 2 implications of he was supposed to be back before then, but got sick. So, yeah, it's a big time concern. He could be fighting other people. I understand. Now, granted, you wouldn't want to waste this opportunity to get this shot with Tank. You don't. At the same breath, I would have liked to see him back in the ring at least 7 months out. I would have liked to see him back in the ring in November. I would have liked to see him back in the ring because if this fight is indeed becoming something that could be a reality, most likely it's August right now. In 4 days, it's going to be May 2nd. Look for late July. Could be when that fight takes place. Mind you, Anthony Joshua, he's getting ready to fight in July, and their stuff got signed this month. If we see within a couple of weeks Schofield get a fight, it's going to probably be in July as well. Maybe late August, without any tune-up, get-right, ring rust type of affair. Now, generally, boxers fight 1 to 2 times a year. However, in Schofield's situation, both times he's been out for a fight that was supposed to come back before a year's end. He was sick, maybe just jumping into the deep end with just straight up raw ability without shaking the potential rust off could be a major concern. It could be a huge concern. Hey, it could be trouble.
We got some problems here.
But again, you don't waste the opportunity. You know, and I forgot to pull up the thing. As you can see here, last time we fought was June 25th, 2025. I believe that I am reading this right. It is June 25th, right? Yeah, I'm sorry, June 28th. June 28th. As you can see, last time he fought. So, it's a risk reward, but it's like for Tank, if this is real and you do get signed, well, it's a risk worth having. It's a risk worth taking because there will not be a fight he will get more money with, ever, most likely. This would be he finally gets a title opportunity. And if you lose, well, you're young. If you're old, or excuse me, if you lose, you're young, you can come back and you got more titles than you can potentially get. If you win, well, all of a sudden, you beat Tank outright. Oh my gosh. The world is at your feet now. So, just like with Zayas, might as well, if this is real, might as well just take the risk and see how it goes. But let me see. Floyd should have fought. Floyd should have fought Shakur if he believed in himself. I think the food poisoning was a duck. He realized he ain't ready yet. Otherwise, he tried to rebook that lick. Now, see, sickness and stuff, I am hesitant to say that's real or fake, that somebody was trying to avoid competition. Because I understand, sometimes life is just life. So I am very hesitant to say that it's a duck for that regard. However, the notion of why are you not trying to run that lick back again? Circle back around the table and say, hey, I got messed up last time, but give me this shot now. Why is that not happening? I don't like that. At least in the public regime. Looking at this from an outside perspective. If he's doing all this work behind the scenes, okay, fine. And if that's why we got to see what Tank is, well, he wasn't ducking stuff. He was just really trying to get fights going. And he wanted to fight somebody of a Shakur caliber. So you got Tank, and he finally made it happen. I can't be mad at that if that's what goes down. But, yeah, it is a little bit concerning that we didn't see him try to run it back with Shakur as quickly as possible at 135, or at least cause anybody a little bit more. To try to say, hey, look, stuff happened. Let's get what we were supposed to happen. Let's get what we were supposed to have as a fight going down now. But if he gets this fight with Tank, a lot of people aren't going to look at that and say, he ducked Shakur. It was like, oh, okay. You got the bigger cash cow. And for a lot of people, they still view Tank as the better fighter than Shakur. I don't think so. Not me. Not me. Be clear. Not me. Be clear. Not me. I don't think Tank is better than Shakur at this current stage. I think Shakur is better than Tank. I think Shakur is more accomplished than Tank. I think Shakur would beat Tank if they fought against each other. But for the other people, they still may hold on and say that, yeah, Tank is still that guy. And he is still that guy. But he's still that guy that is better than Shakur. You got the better, tougher opponent. At minimum, you at least got the more dangerous opponent from a power perspective. I can agree to that. As a fighter, well, we can duke it out and say who's better. I think Shakur is better. But again, I digress. Regardless of which, this ain't bad if it comes out to be true. Now, if it's all, if it's all blowing smoke, well, then we start, same stuff we've seen with other talks involving what they do and what they don't do. So it's like, it is what it is. Let's hope it's real. That's the biggest thing. Let's hope that it's real. Most obvious and hilarious duck I've seen in a long time. Yeah, for a lot of people, it's like they gonna feel that this cat just ain't up. Again, duck and smoke. ducking smoke and avoiding competition, ducking smoke and avoiding the propensity to have a fight that was on the table. Now again, Daniel Dubois, was that the same card? Because Shakur was supposed to fight. Shakur was supposed to fight Schofield the night he was supposed to fight the night he fought Josh Padley. Because Josh Padley came in, I believe, as a replacement. And on that same card, if I'm not mistaken, Joseph Parker was also supposed to fight Daniel Dubois. But Dubois got sick. So you had to go and replace it with Martin Bacoli, who landed a good shot on Joseph Parker, but then got knocked out in round 2. But it was dancing like it was doing in the gym, shaking and moving. Ridiculous. It was funny, I'm not gonna lie. But so that's also why I was like, I think the sickness might be real. Because another person who he doesn't normally quit before the fight, at least. And then Dubois also got sick with a illness that was like, oh no, type situation. So that's why, try to be as cautious putting those situations out as, he was just avoiding. But if it was, then it was. If it wasn't, then it was legitimate. So that's the best way I can say it. Let me see. Daddy doing a smear campaign against both Turkey and Shakur. Kid taking fake hospital pics. Like hey, look, man. Like I said, Schofield looked like he was at death's door. I didn't want that to be the case. I'm glad he's good now. But that brother looked like, my gosh, he about to get up out of here. He looked like he was about to get up out of here. I'm not gonna lie. Y'all remember them pictures? I mean, this brother was tubed up. We were like, yo, if this is serious, hey man, this can be dangerous. If this is as severe as he was making it out to be. And so I was in the midst of it, I was like, hey man, I do hope everything's okay, because it looked bad. It looked really bad. And now everybody's saying, I think that brother was just put on a show. I'm not going to say one way or the other, because I don't know. All I know is now, if we see that same playbook happen this time, now we got ourselves a real problem. That's the best thing I can say. We see that playbook happen again, we got ourselves a real problem now. I'll keep it a stack. We got ourselves a real problem. This is one of the most important instances in Schofield's career. If this fight actually gets done, he can't let nothing go wrong if this happens. Because if it's so, boy, people going to eat him alive. And if something happens at this juncture, people going to eat him alive. They're going to eat this man alive. I promise you. I guarantee you. But let me see, was there anything else that we needed to talk about? We're going to do a last call real quick. Because like I said, we ain't going to go beyond 3 hours. We want to make sure we cover everything that we can on today. The last call for the world. Last call for the world in the championship rounds. Right now, we want to hear from you on anything regarding the world of boxing and beyond. We got, we'll save some of the playoff basketball talk for tomorrow. We absolutely will. But trying to make sure there's nothing else that I'm missing in the vein of boxing that we are seeing. Any news, updates, concerns, criticism? Other fights that got made, because don't forget, around this time, there's a bunch of people that will come through and say, or that will come out and all of a sudden we got fights being made all across the landscape. I'm trying to make sure everything is on the up and up for the time being. But let me see if you all have anything else in the chat that you want to talk about. I think the Charlos are, or I think I'm sorry. I think the Carlos fight with the Glaciers might happen. Carlos Adames? Yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. That's not a fluke talk. No, that fight can actually happen. That's not just they're jawing at each other and trying to, put on a show. No, that fight can actually happen. That fight can let the dust settle with all this stuff going on right now. Let this weekend pass by. And you're going to see probably by the end of the month or next month, that fight gets made. After May 2nd, that's when we probably gonna hear some real news as to it's going down. Adames versus Iglesias, or Adames gets a fight announced, and then afterwards, now that's the ball rolling. Adames wins a fight against a good contender at super middleweight, because there's a lot of people right now here. There's a lot of people at that top echelon. A lot of belts to be had right now. He fights against somebody, eliminates them from the title contention, and now next fight is him versus Iglesias. One of those two is probably going to happen. It's speculation, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be the scope of what goes down, especially with the way they've been talking at each other. Especially with the way they've been talking at each other. If we don't get calls to Diamond versus Shiraz first, because of the history they already got, we look for Iglesias probably to be the main target that Adames tries to go after. And if so, hey, I'm excited for it. That's going to be a barn burner fight. That's a fight. If anybody wants to see if Adames... hold on. If anybody wants to see if Adames is real or not, then that's the fight to really find out everything. Now, at the same breath, hold on one second. I just saw something with Devin Haney. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I just saw something with Devin. Let me fact check something. Before we go, let me fact check something real quick. Because I think I just saw something on some updates with Bill Haney, Devin Haney, and all those conversations with him and Shakur going down or not. And this, we're gonna end the show on this, because this just came across my feed. Now, it's with pound for pound boxing, and allegedly with Champ Side. And again, you can go fact check this with Champ Side yourself, another prominent boxing social media, or essentially analyst, social media personality, all that stuff. Big dude in the boxing landscape in terms of the YouTube space and beyond. Credit to him, go check him out, all that stuff. Hey, hopefully I can get to his big of a level, preferably with you all involved. Love y'all and appreciate y'all, by the way. But even still, allegedly, per pound for pound boxing, and I'll put this up here on screen so you all can see exactly what I'm talking about. Bill Haney confirms Shakur Stevenson negotiations. Of course, one of the biggest fights in boxing, via text message between Champ Side and Bill Haney earlier this morning. Now again, I'm just seeing this. This is just coming across my feed. This is all that we have right now at this point in time. Fact check this for yourself. We're getting ready to go. But just, hey, we'll put fuel on the fire, but also this is something to really speculate with. Because last week, Matt Borges came through. And also, Matt, how you doing? Good to see you. Wherever you may be, if you ever get to see this, hey, we appreciate you breaking this news to us, because we appreciate it. Hey, great bombshell of a rumor. And everything's coming out that, hey, man, there's a lot of luster behind this as to this may be real or not. But if this is real, and they are actually talking, well, that changes a whole bunch of stuff. Not just with Zuffa, but with a mega fight involved for the end or for midsummer of this year. And if this does turn out to be a valid claim that they are going to fight for each other, hey, man, hey, brother, I'm telling you, these rumors, Shakur's shooting them down. But again, allegedly, people are coming up with stuff to say the opposite. Shakur already said, hey, man, don't believe the stuff you've been hearing. Don't believe all the stuff you see coming about. In fact, I'll pull up the tweet right now so y'all can see exactly what I'm saying. I got to do it quick, though, because we only got, 5 minutes left? I think, we only got 5 minutes left, so let me do this quick, or as quick as possible, to try to see if I can pull this up right here for you all to see where's the thing with Shakur. Here we go. Yesterday, he had put out this tweet. I know the fans like to get excited. And they could play in y'all's heads play with y'all's heads and manipulate y'all easily. But that rumor is capped for the second time. Haven't heard one word about it. I don't know what they're trying to cover up or disguise, but for me, my team haven't heard anything. Now you can read exactly what he was saying, but again, trying to keep this PG. But again, this is a tweet. This is his response. Allegedly, Champ Side got a text from Bill Haney saying, "Hey, we are talking." So, just to keep an eye on this whole sentiment. And Johnny Blaze, I feel you. I'm just giving you everything that we can on stuff that comes out and comes up. That's all. I'm simply the messenger. Be clear, I'm simply being the messenger. Not feeding into anything, simply being the messenger. Now we can discuss this more on tomorrow, as well as giving you the full breakdown and predictions of Benavidez, Zerto, and Inoue versus Nakatani in a full-fledged breakdown that we have coming on Thursday afternoon. So be here for that. But we got to get out of here, and we got to go end off this show with a bang. So ladies and gentlemen, we thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you listening, and we can't wait to see you all next time on our show. And that's how we're going to end this show off for today's episode. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we thank you for tuning in. And with all of that being said, this has been another episode of The Welchable with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. We thank you so much for all of your support, for all the love that you've shown, and for all of you being a part of our stream on today. Please, if you love this show, leave a like on the video before you leave. Comment your thoughts and opinions on what you liked, you didn't like, so we can keep on edifying this show and making it better for you all. If you can, please share the show with everybody you know, so we can keep on building up this empire together. And subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when we post. If you can support this channel monetarily, we got super thanks, Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, and super chats and so much more, all for your viewing and listening pleasure. If you can afford to, it would mean the world to us and help us to make this show bigger, better, and stronger for your viewing and listening pleasure. For our top chatters for today, number 5 was Chong, or number 1, excuse me, was Chong. Congratulations to you as the top pound chatter for today's show. Number 2 was Anita Burr. Number 3 was Al Booger. Number 4 was Sergey coming in. And number 5 was Moon Man coming in with the chats on today. We appreciate you all support. That's our top 5 for our show. And again, congratulations to the number 1 pound chatter on our show today, Chone. Again, can you reign with that top spot? We're going to find out come tomorrow afternoon. But with all that being said, I've been Jean-Luc Welch. You all have been absolutely wonderful. Be safe, be blessed, peace and love. Oh, we are out of here. Yes, sir. We're going to see you all on Thursday afternoon. Same time, same place, same channel. Also, one last request. Please hit the hype button on this stream when it on this video when it becomes a separate video on the channel. Helps us out immensely to push this show to the algorithms all across the world. And one last claim, if you can support the channel with super chats, Cash App, PayPal, all that stuff, monetarily, it would support us oh so much. But we can't wait to see you all on Thursday afternoon. Be safe, be blessed. Salute to you. Peace and love. And we out of here. And we can't wait to see you all on Thursday. Have a great day. Have a great afternoon. And we're going to catch you all next time.